From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, and streaming live on YouTube, this is The Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Lennox Lewis. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and a call from acclaimed chef, Yankel Polak. And now, last night he treated the women in his life to a nice Valentine's meal. He let Olga eat the leftover Blue Apron she made. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get it on. Mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend as we're, I don't know, about a week away from our 10-year anniversary. I was talking to a guy about a half hour ago, and he went, I started listening about 7 months ago. And I thought, oh, good. And then I thought, wait a minute, what happened the other 9.5 years,
What
bucko?
took so long?
Good day, Gina Grad.
Good day to you.
And Bald Brian. What happened? You lose your hamster? What's a great elevator conversation. Well, there should be just a book called Drunken Elevator Conversations from Indian Casinos because everybody is lit.
Volume 1.
They're all lit, and they're all in one kind of a mood or another. Either they won, and they're in one kind of mood, or they just lost it all, and they're in another kind of mood. But either way,
They're in a
you're
mood.
drunk, and you're with them in this box with no windows for, somewhere between 30 and 81 seconds.
you're gonna
and
get something.
They're going to say something. All right, this Lennox Lewis coming in. Very excited about that.
LL Cool Job?
LL Cool J.
See how he responds to his new
I
moniker.
think he's going to like it. Mama said knock you out. Come on. MedMen, I want to thank MedMen for this half of the show. And Blue Chew, bluechew.com, and Castrol Edge. We'll do some tweets in a second. I do have so much to talk to Lennox Lewis about. One is so many interesting things. Famous fight. I think it was he got beat by Hasim Rahman, and he got beat by Oliver McCall. So it's weird. He fought all the big names of his era, but he only got beat by two guys who were sort of no names,
Right.
which is a weird thing that happens. But I think he came back and avenged both those losses.
Do you know whatever happened to those two?
Well, what happened
They're
with
on tomorrow's show.
What happened with Oliver McCall is he started crying in the corner. He had a nervous breakdown in the corner,
Oh my
and
God.
couldn't continue. Like he wasn't having a tough time. He was openly sobbing.
He was overcome with emotion. Even I know this one.
In the
Wow.
corner, and couldn't come back out and answer the bell, and then came back out, and I think he quit.
Oh my God.
I think the two, basically, if I got this right, the two guys that beat him, it's almost like, I don't know, it kind of felt like, oh, you're going to play Michael Jordan one-on-one, first basket wins, and then they flip a coin, and it lands, you call heads, and it lands on heads, and he bounces the ball, and you take it in, you take a few steps in, you just launch it, and it banks in, and you won. And you go, this is great, and then at some point they go, all right, now we have to do the second game,
Rematch.
and you're
Play
like,
to 21.
I don't think that's going to work so well.
Wow.
So Oliver McCall just started sobbing in the corner. Wow. I don't know what happened to Oliver McCall, but and then he stopped in the middle of the fight. I think I don't know what round. You turn it up.
He was
He's
disqualified
wandering around.
the fifth round.
In complete disbelief. A new twist to the plot. Oliver McCall is now crying. Let's listen in.
Don't do it to yourself. Hey, listen to me. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself, man. Come on.
That's a way to get someone to stop crying.
I'm not sure.
Scream
what
at
to
them, don't do this to yourself.
You're embarrassing yourself.
You have no one to blame but yourself. It's all on you. You're blowing it.
I always love it when the guy in the silk D's like, yeah, he won't fight.
Will he go out and fight this fifth round?
He did not. He did not.
And he
ended
never
up.
came back, huh?
He ended up
Well, he
just
came
sort of
back
quitting.
about
he
2
just,
seconds
he
later.
Just, he just sort of stopped. He just put his hands down, and he just didn't want to fight. I don't know what led up to this.
He said it. There's a New York Times article where he says that he didn't quit. He came to win, but he explained his crying by saying that he had wanted to get himself into an emotional state.
No.
Well, he obviously is, not well emotionally.
There's
You know,
something.
but, like, that's his
he's
way of
walking.
pumping himself
so
up.
Right.
he just walked away. He's
Well-
just basically walking away and put his hands down, and he just wants out.
My guess is this was not his first boxing match, and thus had gotten himself into states before, proper states to fight, to get to the point where he got to fight Lennox Lewis.
Well, no, he beat Lennox Lewis.
Right, so what I'm saying is, I think the guy was probably, teetering on the edge for a lot of his adult life, and this maybe was just a moment to put him over.
Yeah, he probably not a stable guy,
Yeah,
but he
that's what I was
definitely
getting at.
beat. I'm pretty sure he beat Lennox Lewis, and this was the follow-up fight. Either way, Lennox didn't do a whole lot of losing. And we'll talk to him. And again,
We should emphasize the matches where he lost.
I should.
when he gets
Really
in.
highlight
Well,
those.
Max Spada, he lost 2 fights and came back and crushed the 2 guys who beat him, right?
Yeah.
Which in boxing is kind of that'll work.
Yeah.
If there's 2 guys on the planet who beat you and you destroyed them 6 months later, each guy,
That's as good as it gets.
pretty as good as Rocky Marciano's A+ of 50-0 or Floyd Money Mayweather, whatever it is. This is just an A, man, A+. It's
Solid
there's
A.
2 people who beat you, and you beat the crap out of both of them 7 months
Right.
after they won the first close fight. Okay.
Pretty good.
Although Rockman did knock him out, so we'll talk to that.
Factor that in.
Also, never fought Corey Sanders, the crazy South African guy who was like this scratch golfer, who was evidently a very nice guy, big sort of white guy from South Africa. Ended up getting into boxing and ended up knocking out one of the Klitschkos to become the heavyweight champion of the world. And then several years later, not a lot, but some years later, he still is a young man, maybe 40 years old, died in a random shooting in South Africa when like someone just came into a restaurant and he was just like having lunch with his daughter or something, and they just started shooting up the restaurant, and he covered her up and sort of acted as a human dad shield, and he was killed.
Oh my
It
God.
was I guess it was an armed robbery, but they just started shooting around.
That's terrible.
And he was young. I mean,
Yeah, they entered firing their guns already.
right. He was, I don't know, just like at a restaurant. I mean, he
Typically, just having the gun will be enough to rob a restaurant. No need to come in firing.
Spraying.
right.
Sanders was near the end of the restaurant, and he got hit in the stomach and the arm
Oh.
as he moved in front of his daughter to protect her.
Sad.
Oy.
He was what, 40, 42? Like he'd probably retired for a couple of years, but it wasn't that many years.
Yeah, as he was bleeding, he pulls his daughter to the ground and tells her to pretend she's dead.
Oh my God.
That's fun.
I know. What a guy. But he did.
We cut to the other side of the restaurant. Adam's there with his 2 kids. He starts a fire, runs outside, and dies on his car.
That's right.
He uses the kids to
Right.
block.
Pretend you're out of gas.
Pretend you're stalled.
The his win against Vladimir or Vitaly Vladimir
Some
Klitschko.
Some
Vitaly.
Klitschko.
Vitaly. His win against Vitaly Klitschko was almost a Tyson Buster Douglas type of win. Like he was a big underdog because no one had heard of Corey
Right.
Sanders. And he just a wild swinger. I think he went in a southpaw, and he knocked him out.
Wow.
It was a big deal. And you go from the just think about life for a second. 1 minute, you knock Vladimir, right? Yeah, he lost to Vitaly, right?
Yeah, we were thinking of
How
you're
dare
back to
you. All right.
Lennox.
Vladimir. So one minute you knock out, I don't know, you're a 10-1 underdog. You knock out the heavyweight champion of the world, and you're the most likely heavyweight champion around because you're from South Africa. You're basically a golfer, and you're sort of a part-time boxer. You're a white guy, and no one's ever heard of you, and you've just knocked out a Klitschko brother. And then 4 years later, you're dead in a restaurant when you go out to eat brunch with your daughter.
That's a hell of a life.
That's the whole thing.
That's it,
yeah,
right?
That's
So everyone lands somewhere in between?
I think so.
I don't know. So this is why when people start talking about luck all the time, like that guy's lucky, that guy's not lucky, you got lucky, he got lucky. I don't know. You really want to examine it? He was he threw a wild haymaker, probably closed his eyes, threw a crazy haymaker, knocked out an unbeatable champion in Klitschko, and then a few years later was with his daughter out eating and was dead on the floor. Yeah. So I don't know, lucky, unlucky, lucky and unlucky.
Yeah.
Why are we examining
Good
it?
mix of both.
Just live.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. That's God. He was 42-4. Nicknamed the sniper, southpaw. He was, although he didn't do a lot of sniping. He just threw a crazy overhand left or overhand cross, and
Jesus, the
he
snipe,
won.
yeah.
He won that fight.
He called him the sniper because he had a really long reach with that left hand.
How
The
long?
sniper got shot to death?
Oh boy.
Oh, boy.
How long? Well, the Harlem Hammer. How long with Max Kellerman's brother?
Kellerman's brother.
How long after that was the incident in the restaurant in South Africa? 'Cause I don't think it was. It wasn't the next year, but it wasn't that much time. He hadn't been retired that long. All right, you look that up, Max Zapata. We'll bring in. So for some reason, Corey Sanders, who I always found a very interesting and heartbreaking story, he never fought Lennox Lewis. I'm not sure how they passed in the night. 9 years later, he was dead. Also, something on my Lennox Lewis is sued Don King a couple times, all part of my...
Join the club.
Why would anyone do that?
Well,
What a nice man.
I do feel like I'm on a little bit of a crusade lately, but the notion of, like, we need people that look like us to represent us so we can fairly be represented. Bob Arum is a miniature Jew.
Keep going.
Done. Now we go on to liked tweets. No, Bob Arum is Bob Arum's a miniature Jewish man, and Lennox Lewis and Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson and all these guys, Larry Holmes, they're giant black men.
Jews. Oh.
Giant black men. And this guy's a little Jewish guy who doesn't know who they are, and he didn't grow up where they grew up, and he didn't grow up on the hardscrabble, whatever. So how's this guy going to understand who these guys are? And how is Bob Arum, how is he going to represent these guys? He can't represent these guys. They don't have anything in common.
Right.
They need something.
Different backgrounds.
Yeah, what about the community? We need someone from the community. We need someone from the hood. We need someone who knows and has been through it,
Identifies.
whatever. Okay. So you get Don King because he's a giant black man. And then he rips you off. Now, it can go both directions. I'm just saying, you figuring, you know how many guys went with Don King? Because you're like, hey, brother.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
get you.
I get you. I know what it's like. Then he rips you off. So he could represent you well. He could rip you off. The little Jewish guy could represent you well. He could rip you off. Let's not do it based on melanin in the skin. Can we do that? Good name for a boxing promoter. Jewish guys.
Hello, it's Melanin.
Marty Melanin.
Marty Melanin.
What do you think, Mel?
I'm just saying. Well, look, whether it's the city council or the fire department, you just need someone who does a good job representing you as a fight promoter who's going to take their cut, but they're going to represent you. They're going to do the best they can for you.
their job.
They don't have to look the most like you or share your genitalia or anything. Just go out and represent you the best they can. It's a weird, flawed, it's a racist and flawed thought that we all sort of signed off on in our sleep somehow. Like, oh, yeah, no, yeah, representation. Yeah, Don King ripped off every black fighter he ever represented. Partially, by the way, probably because he knew he could.
Yeah,
He
that was
probably knew
insidious
he had
way
their
in.
trust.
Yeah.
Okay. Little kind of Cosby-esque in the
Predatory.
hey, young actress. Would you like to learn from the master? Like there's an element of, I get you.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Bill Cosby, king of the block. I get you what you need.
Sounds just like him.
Wait, was it?
Is that a clip from the shot?
No, it wasn't Bill Cosby.
All right. We have. Let's see. Let me hit MedMen, and then we'll do some of my favorite tweets. Break free from the status quo this year. Surprise someone with someone special with a different kind of flour, candy or chocolate from MedMen. Let's get going, man. Premium dispensaries. It may even have a love potion or two. After all, red is the color of passion and desire, and MedMen. Or if you're single, treat yourself to a day or night out. One of MedMen's 15 locations. Let their team, including in-house pharmacists and medical stores, just in the medical stores, but they have the in-house pharmacists there, help you find the gift you've always wanted. Go to medmen.com. Find the store nearest you at medmen.com. 15 stores. Go to medmen.com and find the one that's nearest you. How about it, Dawson?
This February, love and cannabis is in the air, where there's a perfect match for everyone. Visit a MedMen store and use code Adam Carolla at checkout to get 10% off your purchase. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, we got some favorite tweets here, Max Pata.
Here's the tweets he liked. He didn't reply because he cannot type. Here's the tweets he liked. Send him by you to piss him off all day and all night. Here's the tweets he liked.
All right, what is the first one, Max
All
Pata?
right, so a lot of people sending you this new article from the Atlantic. So Ross Anderson writes that he went to a bird hospital in India, and one thing that he noticed was just crows. There was a crow there with a broken wing, and just how smart this crow was. It was the first time they've seen a bird use a special call when it wanted food. So it would change its call whenever it was hungry, it wanted food, and then they noticed that the crows that because it had a broken wing, so once they released it back out into the city, the crows would come back to this hospital.
Do rounds on other birds.
Yeah, whenever
Right.
they needed anything. In the article, it also says like there are crows in Japan that would take walnuts and they would drop them into the middle of intersections, and then at red lights would know to come get the cracked walnuts.
Right, how they got them open.
Yeah, and then crows also leave gifts for people. So they'll leave like buttons and shiny pieces of glass for people, and they're just. This whole article is just about the animals with cognitive thinking, like how the evolution is happening.
How did I wonder why crows are so much different than like seagulls, who just seem like the dumbest flying creatures ever?
It
They're
does
the
seem
worst.
random. Like octopi are the smartest, like creature of the sea, the smartest mollusk. But why are they so much smarter than a shrimp or a hammerhead shark? Like,
Right.
Why dolphins are smart also? But why an octopus?
I completely agree, but
Why not squid?
This is kind of comparing octopus to squid or things that are like of the same nature. Like why is a crow so much smarter than all the
Another
birds
bird.
in its world?
Well,
Yes.
they have. The article also says that they have an unusually large brain for their size, and the neurons in them are just packed so densely relative to all the other animals.
There's your answer.
Got to start teaching them, man.
There was also a radio interview on NPR a while back about how crows can identify if other crows are their family members, and that will adjust the way they try and take the food from the other crow. So if they can realize that they're sort of familial, they'll kind of buddy up to them and kind of try and get it that way. If not, they'll just bully them and take their food.
It's
great.
so
They're
Like inmates.
it's so it's so
Trading cigarettes.
interesting. Well, look, crows, my dog Phil, any animals, human beings, they're all exactly the same, which is my dog just lays there on the floor, and then I go, come on, Phil, it's time to go for a walk, and he'll look at me. He just looks at me, and he'll go, come on. And then at some point, Olga will intervene and go, hey, Phil, and he'll like pop up because Olga does two things. Olga either gives him a treat or she kicks him in the ribs. Those are the two things that get everyone, all of God's creatures are motivated.
Sure.
Those two.
Carrot and stick.
Right. Either the treat or the kick in the rib. And Phil knows when I say, come on, we're going for a walk, that means nothing.
On my time, Pops.
That's neither treat nor shot to the ribs.
Right.
When Olga and by the way, Lynette, the kids, anything, he ignores everybody all the time. But Olga talks, and Olga's got some action behind her talk. It's mostly a treat, but it's sometimes a kick in the ribs. And either way, he pops up and just shoots out of the room. Now, she doesn't need to call him from the front door. I stand by the front door and call him. He lays down in the kitchen. And then at some point, Olga looks down and goes, hey, Phil, and he pops up and runs to the front door.
Wow.
He's not even following
He
her.
knows who the boss
Wow.
is.
Absolutely. She has established herself as the boss.
She's the enforcer.
Yeah, I'm sure Phil thinks that me and Lynette work for Olga and that she owns the house. And
Your employees, you're bigger dogs.
She's probably in Asia on business every weekend and then comes back Monday about noonish.
Yeah.
I'm sure in his brain he thinks she's in charge. Well, she's definitely in charge of
He's
him.
showing you that.
Right.
She provides food for you. She's the alpha.
Right.
This crow in the hospital thing is very impressive. Unfortunately, I saw a follow-up story that one of the crows had impregnated a catatonic pigeon. So it's not that impressive after all.
All right. The next one was what story, Max Pata?
All right, so this is an article that's published in Sage Journals, and it basically just says this is a say done that when police focus on revenue, ticketing revenue, their ability to address violent crime is diminished.
What?
The article says that we find that police departments in cities that collect a greater share of their revenue from fees solve violent and property crimes at a significantly lower rate.
What? Terrific.
Nobody
crazy.
ever. Oh yeah. How many times I've been screaming, you guys need to bring back the policeman's ball and raise your fucking money that way. Stop raising it. Let me explain what's insidious about this. What's insidious about this is the first police we go, okay, what's going on? Well, you got a society and you got a bunch of people and they want to raise their kids and pay their taxes and go to work and go to school and they don't want to be robbed by a pickpocket. They don't want their pocket watch stolen or their home broken into or their horse stolen or something. So they went, all right, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? There's a large group of people just kind of want to get along, be neighborly, go to work, and not getting robbed or held up a knife point or anything. And then there's a small group of people that would engage in that behavior. Why don't we have everybody who's paying the taxes, why don't we just take a little of that money and we'll get a force of people, police, and then they'll drive around on horses or in cars or whatever, and we'll put badges on them and stuff, and then they'll just go around and protect those people from the crime of the other people. And you go, well, that makes sense.
Good.
And people do it. J-Lo has a little security team. She pays for it. People pay for it, and then you get it. And that's fine. And I guess that was the initial intent. But at a certain point, they started realizing, hey, the people who are paying us? Yeah. You know how they can pay us and why they pay us? Because they have money. The other people that are like stealing and breaking into stuff and ripping off the car stereos and before that the horse stereos, before that
the detachable faces,
all of them,
detachable horse faces.
Yes, all of them. They don't have any money. That's why they're ripping off the people with money. We like money.
We sure do.
So
we sure could use more of it.
Stopping those guys from breaking into those guys' houses or cars doesn't really get us.
Well, the money
paid.
goes one way; it goes out.
Right, right.
Manpower.
But these guys who have money, so we'll start making a bunch of rules for safety.
Sure,
for safety.
That's our number one priority. It's right there on the side of the car.
chaos.
We don't want someone going 150 miles an hour down the 134 freeway. So for safety, we'll put a speed limit. But of course, it has to devolve into hiding behind shrubs along Forest Lawn Drive and tickets for no front license plate and illegal tints and rolling through a four-way stop sign on Sunday at 4 a.m. when there's no other car. Of course, it devolves into a money-raising campaign because that's who the city is. That's who the government is. This notion, I yell all the time. It's like, they're evil. They're not evil. They're good. They're protecting. They want to collect money. They just want to collect money. They essentially want to, here's the deal. We'll keep the peace. On a micro level, we'll keep the peace in your neighborhood. On a macro level, we'll stop the scuds from coming in from North Korea. Micro, macro, we'll keep the peace, and we'll keep collecting the money. They're kind of mafia. They're sort of like, we'll just kind of keep the peace. We'll keep the money coming in. But of course, because all they want is money, of course it's going to take a turn toward a little less of the crime stoppage, because that kind of costs us money.
Sure.
And a little more of the
shakedown.
Chicken-ass tickets. Yes, you have something, Max Zapata?
Also, just a 1% increase in revenues from fines and fees is associated with a 3.7% decrease in these violent crime clearance rate. So
meaning less solving of crime if just 1% increase in revenue.
Almost three times less.
I've been screaming this my entire life. When I would call 911 and say, my wife would, like, drunk driver hit the house, come up the house. We don't have people. It's like, you don't have people. You have people parked at the bottom of Barham. Every hill has a cop parked at the bottom of it.
Send him.
Because cars are going to go too fast.
Yeah. Holding and pointing a jugs machine.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Ooh, good nickname for Gene.
Thank you, Brian.
The jugs machine, yeah. The radar detector. Yeah.
Is that really what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
When
Jugs.
it's
actually what they
I thought the
would.
jugs machine fired the football. Uh-oh.
Why can't it do both?
Uh-oh.
I have to look that up.
I think the jugs machine fires the
I thought
football.
that was the radar they held behind home plate.
I don't think so, but we're gonna look it
Oh
up.
man, I could be wrong about that. Because that does sound familiar. The jug machine does.
It's whichever one looks like this, which I'm pretty sure is for a
two
football.
big wheels.
Yeah, you're right. That's not the. Yeah.
That's all right.
Damn it.
We corrected it.
Yeah, you're right.
The most angry I ever heard a guy call in the radio is when I was doing Kevin and Bean a million years ago as Mr. Burcham, and I was screaming about these cops sitting in the car with their radar detectors. And I was screaming, you deserve testicular cancer for sitting in your car and busting people all day with this thing. And a cop called up and he was goddamn irate. I remember that. Or maybe he had testicular cancer. I can't remember what, but it was bad.
Jugs makes a baseball radar.
Oh, my God.
Oh, they do. Look up Jugs baseball radar. Speed radar.
Google Brian Wright.
It wouldn't be called.
Google me right.
It wouldn't be called Jugs Machine. It'd be called
you're
Jugs,
right,
whatever.
yeah,
but
yeah,
you're there.
Okay.
We're good.
God, I thought I lost my mind for a second.
All right. So, okay, cops, stop raising money and start stopping crime. Wouldn't that be a nice society? Because I think I am more scared of the cops than criminals are.
Yeah. I think most of us feel that way at this point.
I got a radar detector in my car, not because I'm scared of criminals. That's because I'm scared of cops.
Right. Yep. And you know how we talk about on the show, you know, the bygone days of people lying to their boss because they had that healthy fear. And it was just nice to do that little dance and now nobody cares. Couldn't the cops lie to us and say they're looking for our stolen items and not laugh in our faces and say that's just
It's
gone?
a lost cause. Forget about it.
Well, again, a young man of color, I believe, was gunned down, maybe a kid, 17, 18-year-old guy, gunned down by a police officer in Pasadena because a young Indian guy, I believe, I don't know why I remember that, but a young man had his laptop stolen. And the cops do what they always do, which is, well, hey, good luck. I hope you had it insured. Maybe your stepdad will buy you a new one. We're not going to go, yeah, it's a $1,400 item. It's your property. We're not going to go look for it. We're too busy giving out chicken shit tickets by Forest Lawn Drive. So the person does what everyone will do and has done and is going to cause, I talk about this all the time, unexpected consequences. Cops, you decided to shift from going and stopping crime and getting stolen property, retrieving stolen property, to shaking down soccer moms in vans or going 8 miles an hour past the posted speed limit. Fine. Understand that. Here's the unintended consequences. This guy wants his computer back. He knows you're not looking for it. So what does he say? Guy had a gun.
Yep.
Guy pulled a gun on me.
Because now the cops got to take it seriously.
Now you got to go find the guy because the guy's got a gun. So now they encounter young black man. I don't know if he had the computer or not, but young black man in alley fits description with computer, whatever. Now cops approaching it in a slightly different way, which is this guy's toting a gun, and then he kills the guy who has no gun, but the guy gets his computer back. And they're probably going to...
spirit sales, right.
Yes, they're probably going to charge the guy, or probably did, for making a false police report or whatever it is. But this is what happens when you don't look for citizens' property.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Unintended consequences.
It's an interesting story, Maxipad, I think, out of Pasadena about 6-8 years ago.
From 2012, this guy gets his laptop stolen out of his car, so he calls the cops and says that he was stolen at gunpoint. The laptop was stolen at gunpoint. And the cops shot the guy after they found him, and then he eventually admits that it was actually stolen out of his car thanks to surveillance video of the theft.
Right, and then I'm sure we had to pay the surviving family members $4.7 million. So we didn't end up making a lot of money.
It's a net loss.
City did lose a lot of money, and we lost a young brother, and it's all because you guys wouldn't have gone and looked for the computer if he had said it was stolen out of my car. There you go, everybody. Did they charge the young guy who made the report?
They found that a charge of manslaughter was not supported by the evidence.
But what about the guy who said basically the false police report?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They could charge him for manslaughter. Or they could try to get him for.
What he's saying.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
gotcha.
But I'm saying, false police
very
report
obviously
or whatever.
Right.
Nothing. So it was manslaughter or nothing.
Yeah, the district attorney's office has referred the case to Pasadena City prosecutors for a criminal charge of misdemeanor filing of a false police report.
There it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I charged him. Did he get his computer back?
I don't even know.
Don't
where
bury the
computer is.
lead!
That's not even in the article.
Was the guy got shot? The guy with the computer?
In this LA Times article, it doesn't even say anything about the laptop after the fact that he got shot. Like if it even showed up, if there was a laptop in the.
But was the same guy who stole the computer?
Yeah.
He had the computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Oy.
Listen, unintended consequences number 2, as I always say. You can jump over your neighbor's fence, steal his hibachi, and jump back over your fence and have the best day of your life, or he can shoot you. You can break into someone's car and steal their computer, and 98% chance nothing's going to happen,
Bye.
or
It's
you can get shot.
a wide range of outcomes.
The moral of the story is don't break into
Stay on your
anyone's
side of the
car and
fence.
stay on your yard. All right, is our guest on?
Oh, we'll do it at the break.
We'll do it at the break. Okay, so let's do an outro. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
He'll rant on and he'll never get tired. Keep sending him the tweet till
We found.
Yeah, so very weird happening just now. You mentioned J-Lo just in this discussion, and we found an old video of J-Lo with Lennox Lewis and LL Cool J.
What? The Great Magnet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
Let's see it. I had no idea.
Especially me, I was creeping all over town. Thought my tender touch could lock you down.
That's LL. And it's got Lennox.
There's LML.
J-Lo's leaving.
LL Cool Chap and LL
A lot of letters in this video. J-Lo and
Wow.
Wow.
And no one did the LL Cool Jab with Lennox, so we'll have to.
I'm pretty sure the only person he's ever heard that from was Dylan.
Do you think he'll have the reaction that Temu had?
we can only hope.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
That was
Unbridled
that was
enthusiasm.
Damashek singing Temu and Choo Choo.
Hey, Bill, I wrote a song for
He
you.
wrote a song for me, sung a song at the top of his lungs, and he's like, wow.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
He wasn't used to being feted with a song.
All right, let me tell you about Blue Chew, and then we'll carry on here. You like sex? Good. BlueChew.com. Performance enhancement for the bedroom. The first chewable with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. Cheaper than Viagra and Cialis, too. Chewables work faster than pills, up to twice as fast. Take on a full or empty stomach. Only takes a few minutes to fill out a form online. No doctor's visit. No awkward conversations. No waiting in line at a pharmacy. Ships directly to you. Goes right to your door in a discreet packaging. Made in the U.S. of A., everybody. Blue Chew. Confidence in bed every time. You and your partner will love it. Chew it and do it with Blue Chew. Right, Dawson?
Visit BlueChew.com and get your first order free when you use promo code Adam. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BLUEChew.com. Promo code Adam.
There was one more, sorry, Max Spada, we didn't talk about before, but there was one more tweet, which was the inline water heater.
Yeah, so this.
Sorry, we don't need it.
Oh, you want to hear?
Yeah, I want to hear it
Okay.
because in.
Oh, this is the thing I put in?
Did you put in?
I put in the recirculating.
You
thing.
did in your home,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
this was the
Oh, the
dentist
dentist,
office.
okay.
When
Yeah.
I went to the dentist in 1993, and it was cold like it is now, and the groundwater, whatever comes out of the ground, is freezing. Like, look, wake up on a nice cold morning, go in the shower, to turn on cold, and get in. that's the temperature of what's going
Right.
on in the groundwater. And they're buzzing away at your teeth and they're peeling everything back. And then they rinse it and they squirt it with this freezing water.
Nothing's better on freshly drilled gums and teeth
Right.
than freezing cold
Raw
water.
nerves.
So then this conversation, which is basically, I think, my entire life, where I go, hey, man, that's really painful because it's such cold water and my teeth are so sensitive because you've been working them the whole time. And they should invent like an inline water heater that makes the water warm, that shoots it. And the guy, favorite answer of all time, oh, they got those. And I go, they do?
Why don't
Yeah,
you?
they got them. I've seen them.
Any dentists in the area have those?
Yeah.
I'm taking reps.
How about you implement it then? By the way, don't say they got them. Go, capital idea. I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to go
Look
make
into
a
that.
prototype and see if I can bring it down to the patent office later on today. You're a genius. But no, they got those. So it's taken a while, but I guess whatever I complain about eventually comes to be. And then
Sure.
somebody sent me a tweet
You got
that
a
said,
tweet last night that says Ace just got a cleaning today at the dentist. They got an inline water heater for the water pick. It was awesome, such a huge difference. Didn't mind getting the cleaning done. Was way more comfortable than with the cold water in the past. Hope you get to experience. And to which you responded.
I was literally sitting with my buck slip, and I was getting ready to go out to the Ice House in Pasadena and keep up with my New Year's resolution of doing stand-up every once a week. And I was sitting there like making a list, and I was writing dentist because it was some bits I was working on involving the dentist and some sort of an idea about dentistry and stuff like that. And I had this notion about, I should tell the story I just told, the water heater and the inline heater. I literally just turned on my computer, and this guy just randomly sent me this tweet.
The exact tweet.
I just wrote him back, said just working on my set tonight, was thinking about doing that bit 2 minutes ago. Great magnet.
Strikes again.
Yes. Okay, we'll take ourselves a quick break. Chef Yankel Polak. Oh, Pollock.
It's not a real name.
Yankel Pollock. I met him in Boston and his very naughty Asian girlfriend.
Excuse me?
Oh, yes. Well, I'm going to have to talk to him about her. She crossed the line with me backstage.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Hashtag.
Me too.
Right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam Carolla, Lisa Lampanelli. I just want to say thank you so much for 10 wonderful years of podcasting. In my opinion, you invented podcasting. Yeah, it's true. Look it up. Learn about it. You rule. And even though I'll never call you Ace, because, I mean, come on, really? I happen to have a place in my heart for our time on The Celebrity Apprentice, and also the fact that when you told me I was funny, it made my year. Because for you to respect me meant a lot. Still does. I love you. Always will. Talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, and tell Bald Brian he never really had cancer. It was all a joke, the doctor said.
Now back to the Adam Carolla Show.
The secret's out.
So Michael Mann, who enigmatic guy, never seen him interviewed or anything, but Michael Mann, we're going to run his interview on Monday. And I guess I had a good interview with him because he sent me 2 scripts he wanted me to read.
Really?
What?
We started talking about Ferrari and about how I did the 24-hour war and about how they're making this new Matt Damon, Christian Bale, Ferrari, Ford, Ferrari, Shelby.
Right.
Damon's playing Carroll Shelby. It's like the doc, my next doc, which is right about done. It's about 2 hours and 5 minutes. We got to tighten it up a little bit more, is on Carroll Shelby. So Hollywood is coming out with these Shelby, Ferrari versus Shelby, and then just Ferrari on his own features. I'm just living in that world, and they all cross. You know, it's sort of like Lennox Lewis and the Klitschko's. It's like they're all, you start looking at one, you start seeing the other. They're battling and blah blah blah. So I was talking to Michael Mann about driving, and you know, there's a episode of Miami Vice with like Danny Sullivan, the IndyCar driver from like 87 or 88, and they're doing the whatever Grand Prix in Miami, and there's footage. You can actually see my Newman Planters Peanuts like 2+2 car there, like B-roll sort of at the race, you know, because they had a real race and blah blah blah. And start talking about Ferrari and Shelby and everything else. And then he left. He had a wrangler who was like, come on, we got to go, which is one of those things where, like, the guy, oftentimes the celebrity's getting into it because we're talking Newman, we're talking racing, we're talking Ferrari, we're talking cars, we're talking Whittington brothers. Who else knows about the Whittingtons, the guys who owned Road Atlanta, who were the drug smugglers?
guys.
Yeah, you and James Brolin
did
know
all
about
that stuff and all that. So the Whittington. So he, of course, he's all about the drug smuggling. Is Michael Mann, and the race car stuff. So he knew all about the Whittington brothers. So we started talking about it. Anyway, he left and he said, "I want to get you the Ferrari script." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "All right." And then he left. And then 2 minutes later, is like, who do we send it to? And here it is. They messengered the thing over. So there's 2 Michael Mann scripts out there.
2 scripts to read.
Consulting producer.
He's a
2
terrific
scripts.
job.
Dylan, how are they?
Very much enjoyed it. I'm sending you 2 things: the Ferrari project, and the other one I'll leave out because I don't know if he was talked about it yet, but we'll figure it out. And anyway,
right.
It's an interesting story about his next thing he's going to direct, blah, blah, blah. So
Look at that.
Yeah, maybe, although I doubt it, but maybe I'll get to consult or do something.
That'd be awesome.
All right, Yankel Pollock is on line 3, head chef for Butcher Box. Yankel?
Hey, Adam. How are you?
Good, man. I haven't seen you in like 3.5 days.
I know. It's been a while.
I saw you came backstage at Boston, right?
Sure did. Saturday night. That was a terrific show, by the way.
I thought it was a good show. It was a good audience, right?
A lot of energy, good improv, good questions, and that band teacher,
The guy who shot
the Glock.
Charles, the guy who shot the gun
that's
and
right.
did
It's a
the
man-eater.
stuff was good. Is your girlfriend a little Asian gal?
Yeah, that's her.
She's naughty, that one.
What does that mean?
You know, in her defense, someone else wrote that on the ping pong ball.
Wasn't? Oh, is that
She just
what?
picked it up and looked at it and was like, "Oh, I wish you had talked about that."
Yeah.
Oh.
She like came up to me and she went, "Bukkake." I'm like, okay.
I love you.
And then I said, Well, I could get into trouble for talking to a young Asian gal about that.
too
She
close.
said, "Not with me."
Wow.
I was like, "Wow."
Permission aboard.
Oh my God.
I thought Yankel's a lucky man.
Or unlucky, as it were.
She's
That is a good point.
she's
No, I am a lucky man.
she's attractive. Where'd you find her?
Thanks. I found her at a gym. She punched me.
Oh,
Real
really?
hard.
I knew she was a little minx that one. Were we doing it?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us that story.
Well, actually, she was taking a self-defense class that I was teaching. That's another thing I do. And then she ended up joining my gym, and we were fighting one day, and she socked.
She socked.
Yeah, just like that.
She socked you.
Punched me in the stomach so hard.
It was.
That's a meet cute.
Love at first punch. Yeah. Well, she's a keeper. She's easy on the eyes and the ears.
Her next opponent, Lennox Lewis.
As well.
Oh yeah, she can take.
So, how do you get to be a head chef over there at Butcher Box?
Well, Mike, the CEO, and I go way back. We were friends in college at BU, and I helped do some of the food photography for the Kickstarter campaign back when Butcher Box was just an idea. And then they didn't really have a need for a chef, but then they hit something like 5,000 members and decided it was time to start educating the customers and the members how to cook the meat and, exactly what we're sending them and what to do with it. So give me a call.
I got to say, I'm looking at one of your favorites, which is the ribeye with the chimichurri. I love the chimichurri.
I love the ribeye.
On the ribeye.
Yeah.
So good. So
It's such an
good.
easy mix. Just put them together, and it goes way back to Argentina or South America where they make those flavors. Chimichurri is the ketchup in South America.
Oh, man. That's smart. It's so
They put that
good.
on
And it is good. Like, if you think about you can dip fries
Yes,
in it, and
I
it's
would.
completely nummy.
Yep.
Yankel,
Savory.
what are your taco rankings?
Now we're talking.
I think Lennox Lewis just walked in, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Not too many
Does he know
7-foot
there's a fight
brothers.
happening?
Yeah, it's you against Lennox against your girlfriend, a big cocky Donnybrook.
Come on.
Actually,
All right,
we could
tacos.
probably take two genres of porn, actually. If you're willing to
few
show
things
up
going on.
and pout on a folding
There's a
chair in
few
the
things.
corner, we could take two very popular genres of porn and combine them.
That's good.
Sorry.
So tacos.
Tacos.
Yeah, let me
Oh,
write
yeah.
that down.
Give me your taco
Tacos.
power rankings.
All right. Pork number one.
Yes.
Absolutely. It shreds easily. You can pack it with flavor. You can smoke it, and you get like all the flavor in one bite or two bites. Easy to eat. That's kind of key for a taco.
Right.
I would go with fish number two.
Good. Strong.
Okay, and I'm getting tested here.
Yeah.
There's a right answer.
Got it. All right. I would go steak number three.
Okay. The right answer is chicken last. The first three are all sort of interchangeable. Pork is the most flavorful.
Indeed.
And you are right in that I like a steak taco more than a fish taco, although there are many good fish tacos out there. But you're right in terms of ease of consumption, which is sometimes steak will bind together a little bit. When you pull on it, you're pulling a bigger piece out.
Well, the fact that he never mentioned chicken has to make him the winner in the clubhouse.
As long as you
hoping I
have it
won't
as a
have to.
distant last. The people in the studio with me prefer chicken.
Again, this is not the way the question was posed to us the first time.
What do you like?
This is your version of Google
What
You
is
Right.
my
This is your
version?
version of Google
I
You Right.
said what
The question has
tacos
become,
do you like the best?
No, it is, no,
At the
no,
same place. You're going to the same place.
We should find
You
the-
guys
we
are
should-
going nuts, right?
we-
Because you won't answer the question. What flavors do you like the best from the same place? I've asked it 8
the
times.
first question was, we're going on a taco run,
Right.
unnamed place. It's
It's
is it
good.
average quality.
I didn't say average. I said it's good. It's a good, safe place. I probably said Paquito Mas, but okay.
The place was not named.
All right, find the tape.
We should find the tape. We'll put this to bed for once and for all.
I didn't say
He said Paquito Moss very, very often, but he was just saying it's just a generic taco place.
It's not
good.
known for their
It's
beef.
good.
It's not known for
It's
their
not known
chicken.
for anything. It's a good taco place. Put it in order. I'm trying to get that off of the table. I don't want that part.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
As the criteria stands now, pork.
As it stood then. It's the same as it was, and it's always been the same. Dawson's always answered the same. Everyone's answered the same. It's just the same taco place. It's a good taco place. We're going on a taco run. They don't specialize in anything. I don't want to tilt it anyway. I didn't tilt it anyway the first time because I want a pure answer. Order.
Pork is my favorite. Steak is. If it's a good taco place, steak's all right, but steak can be chewy, can be
It's
sinewy.
the same place. It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. Then pork,
It's all good.
fish, steak, chicken. Steak and fish could be interchangeable depending on the mood because they're very opposite flavors.
So you had fish first because you thought I said we're going to a broken down taco.
I thought I had chicken first because I thought it was someone's going to taco run. What taco do you want? I was like, I'm playing it safe, going down the middle. I want chicken.
Okay, but chicken's last.
Chicken's last at a good taco place. A place I've been before, a place I love, a good taco place. Yes.
Okay, I feel like you're purposely twisting the question around.
To make this end?
No, you're I kept stating it. I kept just going, it's a good taco place. We're going to get tacos. They don't specialize in anything. Go. And you kept going, well, but some places can be dry and some places can be bad. And I'm saying it's just a good taco place. I'm trying to get your order.
Yeah, if it's just
all right,
a good...
let's put it this way.
Okay.
I'm going to no taco place. Give me your favorite tacos in order.
Okay, that's easy. Pork, fish or steak are interchangeable. Chicken last.
Chicken's last.
Yeah.
All right. So at my taco place, it's first, but at no taco place, it's last.
Right.
Okay.
In a vacuum.
Sheena, you don't like meat.
I love meat. I'm not a steak person.
In a vacuum.
Yeah.
Not a hypothetical vacuum, but in a vacuum.
An actual vacuum.
In an actual vacuum.
Get ready to ask me to leave.
Yes.
Pork, chicken, fish. And Brian, I don't know
Brian
how
wants the
steak and
leaderboard
fish.
to the bottom.
Well, I don't know how
No.
steak and fish are interchangeable.
They're interchangeable in that I like them equally. They're
Okay.
very different flavors, but I like them equally.
All right. So you have chicken at the bottom of the
that up.
leaderboard. Yankel, you didn't want to know what taco place I was going to? You were able to just answer the question without knowing where I was going? How's that possible?
I'll tell you exactly how. You got to manage your expectations when you go somewhere to eat.
Right.
Well put.
But not butcher box, man.
And
Never.
taco places, man, they'll all do pork right, but you never know with the rest of it.
That's a good point. It's always moist. I'm with you. Ask Lennox Lewis what his taco power rankings are. All right, Yankel, what's your girlfriend's name? You know, in case you guys break up.
Her name's Marie.
What is it?
Marie.
Oh, Marie.
Pretty.
Yeah.
Very Anglo of her.
From Singapore.
Sweet Marie, man. You hang on to her with both hands. All right, we'll see. What
I knew
is
that was
it?
coming back around.
Is it 0 degrees in Boston right now, or is it warmed up a little bit?
It's nice and warm. It's in the 30s.
I got to tell you, there's a nice little Polish joint just outside of town. You'll know it because there's a life-size painting of Guy Fieri hanging.
Fieri.
Guy Fieri. Sorry, Fiero's a car. Screwed that up. Thanks, Yankel.
Yeah.
Cafe
Absolutely.
Polonium. Butcher
Thanks for having
Box,
me on.
man. Thanks. All right, Lennox Lewis is out there. Very excited to see Lennox Lewis. What else we got going on? The Peterson Automotive Museum, that'll be the 10th of March. And ACS show is pretty much sold out. I think the uppity screening is
Very close to being sold
very
out.
close
and
to
that has
being
the
sold out.
Q&A and the cocktail hour. So, but the car show, we have a lot more availability for that. So just everybody come out to the car show and hang out with us there.
And
too.
we're trying to get all the usual. Oh, damn. Who am I trying to think of? Speaking of tacos, what's his name's coming out?
Trejo.
Yeah, Danny
Right.
Trejo.
Donuts and tacos.
Who's got his place, will be out there with his lowrider and all that kind of stuff. All right, we'll bring Lennox in a second. First, I'll tell you about Castrol Edge. Stronger under pressure. Engines can lose up to 10% of performance due to friction. Castrol Edge with fluid titanium transforms under pressure, keep metal apart, and fight power-robbing friction. Unlock exhilarating performance 3 times.
3 times, fool.
Stronger than leading full synthetic against viscosity breakdown per Kurt Orban's test of 5W30. Viscosity grade. Edge formula always exceeds the toughest industry standards. Castrol Edge. Well, I'm excited. LL Cool Jab.
As he's known.
Yeah. Around the world.
He's coming in. Lennox Lewis, one of my favorites all time. Coming in. right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Spaceman, I've been sitting on this one for a couple days. To your list of lifelong achievements, such as jumping off with a knife in your teeth, you should add having a sports rule named after you. You were so good or so dominant at a sport that they had to name a new rule, the Carolla rule, which forever changed the game into an era of before and after Carolla. Thanks.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Lennox Lewis, one of the best of all time in studio, 3-time heavyweight world champion.
How many times?
3 times!
3 times, fool!
Always great to see Lennox Lewis. Have so much respect for you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
I always respected you for your ability in the ring. I had you in a weird way. I don't know what this is going to sound like to you, but I had you sort of a Larry Holmes, like a guy who was dominant in his day, took on everybody they threw at him, and might not have gotten his due in his day. Like Larry Holmes didn't quite get his due in his day. I think as time marches on, he gets a little more.
Yeah, fine wine, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people. When they go, yo, they didn't really appreciate you enough. And I'm like, can't help that. I mean, nothing I can do about that. All I can do is just, set records and make the younger guys try and achieve that. And when they can achieve it, then they realize how good I was.
all the losses you had, you avenged.
Yes.
We're looking at
Oliver McCall
crying, and Hasim Rahman and guys like that.
I heard you guys were talking about it today.
We were, and I'm a big boxing fan, and so Lennox's thing was. Lennox was long, Lennox was dominant, and Lennox had a kind of a Floyd Money Mayweather sort of thought, which is boxing is two parts. It's punch other people, but it's also not get punched.
Get punched, right.
Or get punched a little less than you punch the other guy. Some guys just focus, like the Mexican fighters, on just punching the other guy. But your vocabulary isn't as great when you get out and you don't think as well. And you can lose. And I think Lennox thought, I'm going to punch this guy and see if I can not get punched.
Listen, Muhammad Ali was my hero. And he would say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And even when I run the Lennox Lewis League of Champions charity, and it's really it's camps for young kids, I always tell them that. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And it's all about defense. It's all about protection. It's all about longevity. People used to say to me, oh, Muhammad Ali was your hero, but didn't he go into boxing too long? Didn't he stay too long? So mentally, that put a thing in my head saying, listen, I can't stay in this fight too long. If I want longevity out of the sport, I can't be hit so much. So, the guys that last the longest don't get hit.
I think you gave one of the Klitschko's 60 stitches in one of your fights. I think... was it Vitaly or was it Vladimir? And who's
it was Vladimir.
Vladimir.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm sorry, it's Vitaly.
It's tough.
I know, and I get them mixed up as well.
Yeah. 60 when you're fighting a guy and he's opened up that way, are you trying to exploit that, or is there part of you that goes, this guy's going to go one way or the other, so I'll work the body?
Well, you know what it does? It steams me up, because when it's like blood. You see blood and your eyes get open, and it's like, okay. Although I'm not aiming for his eye, but his eye is on his face, and I'm aiming for his face, so it all works together at one thing. It gives you strength. It gives you a lot of strength, because when a guy could be perfect in every way, but if he's like, for instance, let me give you a thing that one of my trainers said to me. He said, if you want to be the best, you have to box on the inside. You have to learn how to box on the outside. And you got to have endurance. You got to have stamina. You got to be able to take a punch. And you can't get cut. You could be all of those, but if you cut easy and the people at home are watching it, they're going to think you're losing the fight because you're bleeding all over the place. Then you feel weak because that person's hitting you and you're bleeding. So it's like, oh, I'm bleeding. So he's feeling a lot stronger than I do. So, very important not to get hit. Even before a fight, put Vaseline. People always want to know what Vaseline's for. It's to let the punches slide off. So when that leather hits your face, it doesn't tear your skin. It's for it to slide off your skin. And even to moisturize your skin so it's pliable and it doesn't cut easy.
Most of it, though, is probably genetic, right? Like some guys just cut easy and some guys never seem to be cut. A name that I've always loved in the heavyweight ranks, who might predate you a little bit, Ike Ibeabuchi, who was around and everyone was scared of, but he sort of took care of himself by going to prison for insane things. Were you around with Ike Ibeabuchi? Or anybody you feared? Anybody you did not? Well, I don't want to say feared, but you didn't look forward to getting into the ring with? And was Ike one of those guys?
No, I actually wanted to fight him, but he created a thing where people were scared of him because of how hard he punched and how strong he was. And a lot of boxers do that. They create this thing where Tyson did the same thing, where everybody was scared of him because of how he spoke and how he knocked out people and this and that. So until they got in there and did it themselves and see that it wasn't that bad, that's when they were okay.
Is it a true statement that Tyson was great when he could bully people, but when he couldn't bully people, he had no second gear? It seemed like he got bullied You bullied him, and he just didn't. He doesn't seem to have an answer. So I mean, what happens with the Patriots and Bill Belichick? They have a bad first half. They score 3 points. They did blah blah blah. They just go in the locker room and they go, okay, regroup. We'll do something different. And then they come out and they beat the crap out of the other team. Tyson, if he got bullied in the first half, he had no second half. He had no other gear.
Right. Well, what I say to that is I'm a 5-dimensional fighter. He's a 1-dimensional fighter in the fact that he has to come forward and throw punches. If he can't come forward, he's going to have difficulty. If you move around away from him, he's going to have a little difficulty because he has to, refocus every time you move. And it's a difficult thing for guys of 1 dimension. They can't switch it up. I'm a boxer, puncher, mover.
Yeah. Yeah, you, for a guy who's 6'5", 6'6"?
6'5".
Good movement, good defense, used your length well. And if you got a guy like Tyson, I feel like a lot of guys didn't use their length well against him, but Lennox definitely did. Tyson also, famously is nuts. You guys fought. Didn't he bite you in the shin?
He did. He bit me. And
who could have seen that coming?
It was one of those days where I didn't know what was in his head. Obviously, he wasn't a vegetarian at the time, and his part of his fighting was biting. And I think we're gladiators. We're not supposed to bite. We're supposed to fight. So I wasn't really expecting that. And to my astonishment, he bit me, and it was a serious bite.
What was the biggest? Do you have to get tetanus shots, rabies shots, whatever shots?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you gotta get shots. If somebody bites you, you have to get shots.
Yeah, you have to because it's a worse bite than a dog.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And then we talked about rabies and all those things. Right. You have to take 16 needles every 3 hours.
Oh.
Or some madness like that.
Ivan Drago.
Did I got? Oh God, what was I going to ask Lance? Well, I'll tell you. This half of the show brought to you by LifeLock. That'll buy me some time. LifeLock.com. Enter Adam. TommyJohn.com/Adam and Geico at Geico.com. So you're born in England. You go to Canada. You end up fighting in the Olympics for Canada because that's where you resided.
Right.
Two-time gold medal.
No, 2-time Olympics. Gold medal in the second Olympics.
Oh, second Olympics.
Yeah.
Why does everyone move to Canada when you're 12?
Well, the reason I moved because my mother immigrated over there, and she went over there to stay with her friend, and then she realized it was a great place, and I was missing her son. So she called for me over there, and first time I seen snow, it was weird. At the airport, I was like, look at all this white, fluffy stuff. This is great. Snow in England was like dirty snow.
Right.
So seeing the snow, went to school in Canada. It was a great experience. First time I learned about tobogganing. It's like, oh, is that all you do? Just slide down the hill? Yeah, and then we run back up.
Can't do.
Legs had to go last because you'd break it in half every time.
That was good. And then I realized that hockey wasn't my sport because my feet, at size 15, doesn't really fit into most hockey skates. And then I realized skating wasn't for me because most of the good skaters start when they're 5 years old. So, I wasn't really into no winter sports. And I was into individual sports, which was, obviously boxing. I played football, basketball, volleyball, all sports, which helped me for boxing.
You never came out of retirement. You never took that last big out-of-retirement money fight. You see, in a way, Floyd Mayweather is sort of diabolical because he's taking novelty fights and getting paid crazy money that he didn't even get paid when he fought guys who maybe could have beat him.
Right.
Now he's fighting kangaroos and getting huge paydays, and it's an interesting thing because you could do. You can't fight the best in your division when you're 40-something years old at that weight division, but you can fight a guy as an MMA guy or a guy as a phenom in China or whatever it is, and that's what he's doing, and he's just can't. These are pretty easy paydays for him, I would say.
Very easy. He's boxing against people that are not in his caliber.
Right.
UFC, they got 5 different disciplines. You have to learn to wrestle, to choke people, to kick, to punch, all these different things. Only a boxer only has to use his hands, and that's what he's good at.
You must have gotten offers to come out and fight a Klitschko or somebody at some point after you decided you were going to retire.
Yes, I did. And I'm like, why did you wait till I retire? You know what I mean?
And the money must have been astronomical, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry I didn't take it.
Oh, really?
Money's always good.
I mean, we're talking over $20 million?
Oh, more.
Yeah. Well, that's over.
More than over.
More than over. No, I mean, we're talking about $50 million?
Oh, that's getting close.
Wow. Damn. I mean, the thing, and I've kind of talked to you about this before, but I respect it, although if my son made this decision, I'd never speak to him again. But you're in good shape when you retire. You don't hang on, and it's not one of those things where you owe the IRS a bunch of money and you have to keep fighting, and it's kind of sad, and this guy's punch drunk. You're in good shape. You have your faculties. You probably know that if you put together a 4 months worth of training camp, you could beat anyone in the world in the heavyweight division.
I sure feel that way. I mean, I'm watching these guys right now, but I realize they're much bigger, much bigger. And every era, the heavyweights are getting bigger. My era before me was obviously Muhammad Ali. He was like 210. The guys that around 200, the heavyweights. Then when I came in, it was like 215, 220, 230. This era is 230, 245, 250. So we're just getting bigger.
And you must have known you had one more fight in you for $50 million, and you probably would have won and not sustained a lot of damage. Why not one more fight when you're 38?
Well, I was trying to get out of the sport because there was a time where, you obviously have to retire with all your faculties. And for me, I just wanted to get rid of all the misfits out of the sport. And I did. And then, Klitschko came at me and said, well, I'm the best of the upcoming era. And my trainer said, well, you can beat the best guy from this era and the guy that's starting the next era. So I said, you know what? That's a good idea. I will. And he said it would be an easy fight for me, but it wasn't easy.
I'm going to bring up a name, and I'll let Max Pata look this guy up. I don't think I've ever brought him up on the show, but you want to talk about a guy that was a little even more Mike Tyson than Mike Tyson.
It's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, can't wait.
Not even black.
Oh no.
David Tua.
Ah, the Samoan.
David Tua was stockier. If you're going back to your guy being stockier than Mike Tyson, like more compact, heavier, bigger calves, like David Tua was a crazy miniature compact. I mean, that guy must have been 5'10", 250.
Yeah, he was a heavyweight fighter.
Linebacker.
He was a heavyweight, but man, was that guy thick.
Oh, yeah, he's had some big legs. Tree trunk legs.
You must have fought Tua at some point, right?
I fought Tua, and I couldn't understand why he took the fight with me because, although I'm bigger than him, but in the fight it showed I'm a lot quicker than him as well. He couldn't really touch me. And I hit him with a good combination in the first few rounds, which kind of slowed him up. And the time when he really wanted to take advantage, it was too late.
You find a nice stocky picture, David, too. I'll tell you about LifeLock. LifeLock, security breach occurs when an intruder gains unauthorized access to an organization's protected data. Cyber criminals, people, they're out there trying to rip off your identity and take it to the bank, or just sit at home and go to your bank and drain that bank account. You got to watch out for cyber threats. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Adds the power of Norton Security to help protect against threats to your devices you can't easily see or fix on your own. If there's a problem, and you won't have a problem, but if there's a problem, they will have agents who will work to fix it. It's 2019. We got to protect ourselves, people. Let's get the industry standard. Let's get LifeLock, right, Dawson?
No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock with Norton Security can see threats you might miss on your own. Go to LifeLock.com or call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code Adam for 10% off your first year. That's promo code Adam at LifeLock.com or 1-800-LifeLock for 10% off.
Look at David Tua.
Wow.
Well, now, this is a little chunkier David Tua. You can find probably a newer Or I don't know. There's Lennox.
Angry dad.
That's a lot of man. I mean,
Wow.
he's 5'10", 250.
Solid.
He was a strong guy.
That was when. That wasn't when he was fighting me.
No, we find
Afterwards.
this is slightly tired David Tua. You'll find a younger,
Beleaguered.
spry 245 David Tua. Event, by the way, Lennox is here to talk about its Premier Boxing Champions on Fox. That'll be tomorrow night. As you hear this, Lennox is going to be doing the color commentary. This is a featherweight title fight. That's Santa Cruz and Rivera. You're going to be doing color commentary.
Yeah.
Is that a thrill? Is that nerve-wracking? Is that something...
No, it's fun. I'm doing something I like, something I know, and I can talk about it very easily. You know, basically breaking down a fight, breaking down the fighters, thinking of what one guy should be doing and one guy's not doing.
How much of it is that? Like, how much of your success... I mean, you're tall, you're strong, you have size, and you have speed. What percentage of it was a strategy for you?
Oh, every percentage, because if you walk into the ring without a strategy, then it's going to be a problem in there. If you go in there with a strategy and it doesn't work, then make sure that you're able to think on your feet to change up the strategy, because a lot of boxers don't do that. They go in there and say, I'm going to knock him out. All right, you go in there, you can't knock him out. What else are you going to do?
Now what?
How do you win the fight? Be a boxer. Get the points.
How much of your corner... it's so funny because I see so many corner guys. The funniest one is always when they do the Spanish translation, and the guy's there and he's screaming at him in Spanish, and they have the translator guy and he's going, "You're not punching enough. You got to punch more. Come on, punch." And it's like, that's his what do you need a guy in the corner for that? You could use a parrot for that.
Thanks for the inside tip.
How much are your guys? How much coaching? How much stuff could you absorb? Like, go, okay, I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to execute it.
Well, the big thing is when you're training in the gym, you always get used to your trainer's voice because he's always speaking to you all the time. So when you get into a big fight, you can recognize his voice out of millions of people. Doing what he says is one thing. Being able to do that's what I was able to do. My trainer could say, "Losing the fight, you need to win this round." I can go out there and win that round. So it's being able to think on your feet and react on your feet and being able to do what comes. And what comes is something different, because it's important to be able to, if plan A is not working, to switch to plan B. So that's the important part, to have a couple plans out there. So if one fails you, you'll always have another one.
Tua, when he fought Lennox in 2000, was 37-1, and Lennox was 37-1-1.
Oh wow!
So that's a pretty even matchup there. David Tua looking a little spry.
Yeah, man.
That's a lot of hair, that matchup.
Yeah.
See what kind of shit? I was even wearing my own underwear. I wasn't wearing anybody else's underwear.
Wearing Lennox's underwear. It was Annie Lennox, actually.
How tall is he?
This is where he came at me. He was about 5'5".
Wow.
No, he wasn't.
5'10".
He's 5'10". He seems
To Lennox, everyone seems 5'5".
Yeah. In that picture, he's kind of squatting, and Lennox is kind of pushing up. But he was a short guy compared to Lennox.
He was short and
but
strong.
as you can see, he was a strongly built human being.
You see those teeth?
Thank you, Max Zapata, by the way, for not showing me the sloppy, drunken version you showed us in the first time.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
That was bad.
Stocky. I gave you stocky. I know.
Those red teeth, he actually presented me them before I fought him. I'm like, what is this? Is this voodoo? He said, no, this is this is a warrior thing. And I'm like, okay, cool.
You mean the necklace thing he wore?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. He was sort of respectful about it?
Yeah, he's nice, real nice guy. He gave me these beads. He didn't say this is an act of war. I had to go over to my corner and they said, it's war. I'm like, okay, I didn't have nothing to give him. So I'll keep these and give it to him afterwards.
Here come the briefs.
Who's a guy whose power you really felt? Like, who's a guy who you went, wow, this guy hits hard?
Power, I really feel. Oliver McCall hit me with a good punch because I was going forward with my motion and he was going forward with his motion. And then, when two bulls collide, something has to give. And I gave.
Oliver ended up just sort of quitting and having a nervous breakdown. It's a weird position. It's kind of like when Fan Man flew into the fight with.
That was
Holyfield?
That was Holyfield and Riddick Bowe.
And Riddick Bowe, and like one guy, I think it was Riddick. Well, one guy could see Fan Man coming in, and the other guy couldn't. But it's like you had to sort of keep fighting, but stop fighting. Like, what do you do when a guy's having a nervous breakdown? You keep punching him?
Let me tell you, I was prepared for everything. I wasn't prepared for that. You know, I came back to the corner, and Manny said, "You're not fighting." I said, "Manny, he's crying. He's crying." "Well, I don't care. Beat him up." That's what he said. I'm like, okay.
Did you keep in contact with him after the fight? Did you?
This guy writes me emails every month saying
Oliver
McCall. He wanted a rematch. He wanted a rematch.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't take him really too serious. But his son's fighting now, and I actually spoke with him. He's a really nice guy. He's turned into somebody that you can speak with. So
his son must be a heavyweight.
Son's a heavyweight, yeah.
Wow.
What do you think of the new guys, the guys that are so long and wild,
tall.
and I mean, just they're like 6'9" or 7 foot, and they're lean and they're kind of spidery and crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Deontay, he weighs 212,
and he's 6'8", like
6'8", yeah, 6'8", and yeah, you have to look at what's his name,
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury is 6'9". And then Joshua is 6'7".
Anthony Joshua, yeah,
245.
Do you think they need a super heavyweight division?
Yes, I think they should have one. I mean, it's funny because you have to say, what is the ultimate weight for heavyweight? Is it 250, 212? Which is the weight? I think it's 250.
Anything above 250 is super heavyweight?
Anything, no, super heavyweight.
Super duper?
Super duper, I like that one. This is the super duper heavyweight field here.
Do you like LL Cool Jab as a nickname?
You know, I heard that name before, you know, and the only thing I could think about that is like, the guy's got to be a cool guy. Really cool. Who's that? Whose name is that?
That's you.
That's me?
Yeah.
Well, I decided. I mean, you got Lennox Lewis. You got Mama Said Knock You Out with Cool J.
Yeah.
It's right there. LL Cool Jab.
Cool Jam.
Jab. Sorry,
jab. Cool Jab. Cool Jab.
Yeah. He had a good jab.
I don't like the last part of it because it just puts me in one barrel.
He does so much more than jabbing.
Yeah, it's like I'm a pugilist specialist.
LL Cool Punch. Yeah, we'll work on
It's
that.
got to kind of work off the LL Cool J,
I
though.
know.
It's tough. It's tough, but it's got to be done. All right. You did the video with LL Cool J and J-Lo, right?
Why don't you? Because you know,
how'd that happen?
Yeah, you know what? I was in town and they were shooting the video, and somebody said, "Hey, let's go." That's how it was.
Wow.
That's how it was.
No agents involved.
No.
I figured. I mean, it made sense. Where was that? Was that in New York?
That was New York. Yeah, New York.
So you get out of the Olympics. You fight. Was there some thought about fighting for the UK, or was it always just I'm going to fight for Canada?
Well, at that time, Canada didn't really have a professional program, and most of the guys went to America. The fact of my history being from England, you know, I decided to go back to England because I wanted a country behind me, supporting me. At that time, Frank Bruno was around.
Yeah.
And he was the big man at that time.
Frank Bruno had a crazy physique. Now, take your time, expat. I don't want him in a bathrobe scratching his nuts and nursing a beer. I want a good example.
Another New Year's down the drain.
Of what I'm talking about, which is Frank Bruno had a crazy, muscular physique. Like we've talked about the Mike Weavers of the world and guys like that that just had these sort of crazy. Ken Norton had a crazy physique, but Frank Bruno quietly may have had the craziest of all the physiques in terms of crazy muscles. Just and again, the beauty of boxing is most of the time the guys that are a little smoother in the physique won, not the guys with the big bulging biceps and lats, and I don't know why, but the smoother guys traditionally seem to do. The guys who built like Muhammad Ali would really beat Mike Weaver and Ken Norton. They beat those guys. You never think about, if you're making a movie, you wouldn't cast it that way. But Frank Bruno was a big dude.
He was, you know, it was interesting because I was watching him fight one time, and I'm like, yo, this guy's fighting guys that are easy, and he looks slow too. But what I found out is a different kettle of fish when you go in there. You know, it's like go in there, you think the fight's gonna be easy. He actually got me upset in the fight because he hit me, and I didn't like it, so I reacted with a left hook. And at that time is when I gave him the 15 unanswered punches. Through out of that reaction of him hitting me and me hitting him back. So
Frank was big in the UK.
Yes.
You said, I'm going to leave Canada after the Olympics, and I'm going to the UK and start my career there.
Yes.
Well, how old were you when you won the title?
I was about 27.
And when was the Bruno fight? How far into it were you then?
Boy, I'm a boxer. I can't remember the
Yeah, I don't remember it. Find a good Frank Bruno shot. God, that guy was a beast.
Damn.
I mean, look at that guy's physique.
Jesus.
And
Look at his thighs.
Bruno is, he's 6'3" and he's 240, 245 and ripped. I mean, just shredded.
His pecs look angry.
I mean, look at that guy's physique. Look at his legs. It's like somebody removed the skin from your legs and showed to show the musculature in his legs. I mean, how crazy
insane.
is that guy's physique?
Yeah, it's like the bodies exhibit at the museum.
Yeah, that's literally what it looks like. It's insane. All right, but Lennox dispatched him. Right? Did you get rid of him? Did you get him out of there?
Got him out of there.
Love it.
Out of there. It was a fight for Britain. There can only be one champ.
Yeah, Highlander.
Only one king.
All right.
Sorry,
yes.
speaking of kings, I do have another moniker to submit to
we're all
the jury. LL Cool Slay. He slays them. Slays the dragons. All right, reach.
It's okay. Made me think about the toboggan, And,
no, not that kind of slay.
I get you. Yeah. All right, let me tell you about Tommy John, and then we'll break and get into some news. Tommy John, men and women all across America are crazy about Tommy John, the most comfortable underwear on the planet, both men and women's underwear. They got the no wedgie guarantee, comfortable stay-put waistbands in a range of fabrics and designs. They move with you. Dress shirts, underwear, all the best stuff. I mean, most people can't afford to put their last name on the side of their underpants and weigh in with David Tua. You got to get Tommy John on there. Go Anywhere apparel is versatile enough to go from the boardroom to the boxing class. Well, we like that. And the lady stuff is all back in stock now as well. Best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee. Tommy John, no adjustment needed. The best. Right, Dawson?
Hurry to TommyJohn.com/Adam right now and get 20% off your first order. That's TommyJohn.com/Adam for 20% off. TommyJohn.com/Adam.
All right. Let's,
hold on.
Yes.
No wedgies?
No wedgie guarantee.
Can you believe that?
I know.
Welcome to 2019. Hell of a time to be alive.
I don't even think I got a 12-year-old son. Kids don't beat up on each other anymore. They don't roughhouse. They don't wrestle. Like, he'll have a sleepover with like 5 of his friends, and I'll go into his room, and all 5 guys will just be laying around like playing like video games.
Snuggled
And I'll
up.
be like, why don't you have each other in headlocks? How come you're not giving each other wedgies or titty twisters or any of the good Indian burns? Remember the Indian burns? Like grab and start like all the good stuff.
What
Like
about that one where you rub the guy's head and you rub his hair and make it
noogie.
run?
Yeah, and the swirly where he put his head in the toilet. I mean,
The
there's all
atomic
sorts
wedgie.
of all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah.
They don't do it anymore. I had a funny. I knew we jumped the shark as a society when my son was wearing, I think it was like a choker. I think it was a choker, and I was looking at it, so like a handmade choker, and I went, "Oh, did your girlfriend make you that choker, Sonny?" And he went, "No, my boyfriend Jensen made it for me." And he walked out of the room like he just beat me in an argument.
Yeah, take that.
Take that.
You got served.
But then all these dads wearing the stupid bracelets. They got to wear all the bracelets. You see the bracelet dads? And you know what the answer is? My daughter made it. It's good. Hang it on the rear view of the truck and get on with your goddamn life. You don't have to wear it out.
Yeah.
Hey, she made me a hat with a dildo on it. So what are you going to do?
I don't want to be rude.
I got to wear it to the park.
No, you give it to your friend.
You give it to your friend. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and do the news with Gina Grad and Lennox Lewis.
Grad. News with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Here's a question for you, Lennox Lewis, as I think about you. I've said to people in the past that boxing is a sport, and you can be good at a sport like you could be good at tennis or basketball, but you don't have to be angry and be good at tennis. You can just be good at tennis. Is that how you approached boxing? Like, I'm better at this than other guys, but I don't need to bite them, and I don't need to snarl at them, and I don't need to yell at them.
100%.
It's a sport, and I'm going to study the sport. I'm going to be better at the sport than them, and I'm going to beat them.
Yeah, I always get upset when guys take it off of that. You know, they start talking about your mother and this and that. I'm like, you shouldn't really dwell there. You shouldn't go that far. You know, you could say, oh, you're a bum, I'm going to beat you, you're lousy, this and that. You know, that's good talk. But when you start taking it personal, it's bad talk.
Yeah. The reason that wouldn't work for me is because it'd go, your mom's a whore, and I'd go,
I mean,
you make some valid points.
She didn't make any money off it.
Which wasn't perfect. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Probably better take the Lennox approach, where you're focusing on strategy and technique, and not on puffing your chest out, or you know what I mean, or shit talking or all.
I tried to like explain. I've had that conversation with a few people just from my limited boxing experience, where they went, you're a comedian and you're nice, and this guy's mean and he's got tattoos and he's a badass. And I'd go, no, it's just a sport, and I've played the sport more than they've played the sport. So it doesn't really matter if they're angry or they have tattoos. If you've started playing tennis or the piano or basketball or football or whatever at a young age, then you'd be better at it than a guy. He's angry. He hasn't played basketball, but he's got a tattoo and he's angry at the court.
He's the bad boy of tennis.
Yeah, it's like look, aggression, I get it, and you're punching people and all that, but at the end of the day, Lennox won because he was better at the sport than these guys
were. He hated everybody.
Right. And the guys who wanted to treat it and be motivated by anger and sort of an emotion would actually get beat quicker than the guy who was engaging in the sport.
You know, somebody said to me, he said, boy, you're so calm in the ring. What do you do? You know, why are you so calm, outside of the ring, and you're vicious inside? What's the difference? I said, it's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You know, Mr. Jekyll would come in. As soon as I step into the ring, Mr. Jekyll appears. Mr. Hyde appears when I'm out of the ring.
Right. But even inside the ring, you never seem to lose your composure. I mean, it seemed pretty calculated.
My thing is pure focus. Pure focus. I only see one thing, and that's me winning. You know, people always say, well, you know, why are you so focused? Why do you look like that? Because I'm imagining myself winning ahead of time. It's like I've won. If I lose, I don't know where that came from, because I wasn't thinking about losing. You know what I mean? So I've always thought about winning.
I would imagine, just with hearing this conversation, it would be more intimidating to see somebody who you're smack talking not react than somebody just smack talking you. You know, if you can't get under their skin, now you're scared.
Well, there's two parts to that, because you could be talking to them, they're listening, and they're taking you in, but they don't want to show that they're taking you in. And then everything that you've said, oh, I'm going to smash you, I'm going to do this, they're thinking about at nighttime. Then when you get close to the fight, it's like, okay, they're still thinking about what you've said. They've never said anything back to you, so that's the power going into the ring. You got to interrupt that power and say, no, you're not. You can't beat me. And laugh at him. Now, that's when it works. That's the mind games there.
Right.
If a man's laughing at you when you told him you're going to knock him out, it's like, okay.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's like, you know, he's not taking me serious. I'm upset. You know, I'm going to knock him out. Yeah, sure, buddy.
All right, Gina, what do you got?
Well, Jussie Smollett, he finally opened up to GMA's Robin Roberts and told his story about his claims of a racist and homophobic attack, which occurred in Chicago 2 weeks ago. He had gone pretty silent about this, and then he talked to Robin. So before we get into a lot of the story, here's about a minute and 20-second clip from the interview. He's talking about how he was on the phone with his manager at the time of the attack, and this is what he has to say.
He was on the phone. I heard As I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. And I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire. And I didn't answer. I kept walking. And
Hold
then I
on,
heard
pause it for a second. People yell, "Hey, man, show," and I stop and turn around all the time.
You shouldn't answer to that.
What am I, an idiot? I should never do that. I get, "Hey, man, show," and I go, "Hey,
How dare
I
you.
shouldn't answer that.
No.
Listen, I answered to Champ. Hey, Champ!
Oh, well, that's different. Hey, white dick, huh? Yeah?
Must be me.
Talking to me? All right. He doesn't answer
doesn't
to
like
Empire.
that.
All right, no more answering to Man Show. And no more telling anyone when where are the juggies? No more giving out addresses.
Don't dignify that.
Where's Dr. Drew?
Well, I get
Up
that
yours.
too. All right, I do that. Hey, Man Show, hey, where's Dr. Drew? I always stop and turn around.
Don't do it.
No more. All right, here we go.
Empire. So I turned around and I said, "Did you just say to me?" And I see the attacker masked, and he said, "This MAGA country," punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back. And then we started tussling. You know, it was very icy. And we ended up tussling by the stairs. Fighting. There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back. And then it just stopped. And they ran off. And I saw where they ran. And the phone was in my pocket, but it had fallen out. And it was sitting there. And my manager was still on the phone. So I picked up the phone and I said, "Brandon," and he's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "I was just jumped." And then I looked down and I see that there's a rope around my neck, which I hadn't.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No,
You didn't
because
see?
it was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
How long did?
So he told the police that when he was on the phone with the manager that, you know, when the attack occurred, but he as we talked about the other day, he won't hand his phone over to the police. He explained that he's trying to protect various contacts. You know, he doesn't want them getting out their personal information leaked, you know, his famous friends or whatever. As for why it took so long for him to call 911, he explained that there was a level of pride. He didn't want to look weak. But when police finally came about 30 minutes later, he showed them bruises on his face and a burn on his neck. Smollett said he believes the cloud of doubt around his story is also rooted in racism and his public criticism of the president. But like we said before, there's a lot of printed information he gave them that was redacted, and there's no surveillance footage of this happening, even though there's surveillance cameras everywhere. So the police are still kind of scrambling to make sense of this.
Well, my feeling is it's he said, she said, and he's got to give him the phone, or he's got to figure out technologically, and I don't know how to do this, but you got to figure out a way to, if someone's on the phone and this all went down and it was all recorded and it's going to verify everything you said,
right,
you got to get him the phone. I don't know who else is he worried? I don't know enough about phones. There's people's names on that phone that they're going to find and put out.
Their name and their phone number at least. He said there's some private photos. He doesn't just want to say
Probably
here's
text
my
with
phone.
cast members about other cast members.
Yeah.
About the,
But you
network
think it'll be leaked by the police?
I guess
if I was that famous, on TV or whatever, I wouldn't. Depending on the crime, of course, I wouldn't want to give my phone over to
But
somebody.
do you have to give them? So I guess what I'm saying is isn't there a way to supervise this? Like when there's some article in Congress or something, and they go, you can go into this room, you can access this room, you can view it, and then you can leave, but you can't leave with it.
Right.
You can't take a picture of it
would
with your
seem like you
phone.
can meet with a detective and go over things.
Yeah,
That seems pretty doable. Doesn't seem like you could just be there and go, here's this
seems
night,
pretty-
but no other nights.
I'm confused. The man's on the phone with his manager. How is he? There's nothing being recorded at that time. So what do the police want with his
I guess
phone?
a record of the call.
Yeah,
maybe?
now they're
to prove
sort of,
he was on the phone.
That's exactly
Okay,
right.
even though.
Oh, there's nothing that can't get the conversation?
No, they're not.
No, you have to go to Apple.
Wink.
Conspiracy.
Oh, well, then it's not. So then all you're trying to do is
prove that he was on the phone
at that time, which doesn't prove
know what
that
it means,
much.
yeah.
Well, and from what I've read, and Chris, maybe you know, but the manager maybe has changed his story a little bit, whether they were on the phone or not. So it's very confusing.
Max Zapata, you look like as a young person.
Well,
you seem like you have an idea here.
No, I'm also confused about why they need his phone. I don't know if don't they still keep phone records of whenever you're on the phone? Like, can't you just go to the phone company?
Well, you're right. They hand you a bill, and it's itemized of what the calls you've made.
So it's got to be more than you were on the phone at this time, because that doesn't prove anything other than you were on the phone at that time.
Yeah.
So there must be something that they think they're going to be able to retrieve. Somebody's listening. Someone will tell us.
Or if they can
I'll be
ping a
curious.
location.
Let me tell you, this is the perfect time to bite. That was the perfect time to start biting.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
that's when you want to bite.
Yeah, not during a press conference.
Right.
Yeah, I've talked to Mark Garrigus about triangulating and
Yeah.
things of that nature, which they wouldn't let him do with Scott Peterson, I think.
Seems like it
The
would've been
technology
important.
may not have been what it is today, too. That was
They
2002.
wouldn't give him, they wouldn't let him have it. They
Oh.
could have done it. He was
Oh.
trying to
Oh, they
triangulate
denied
like Peterson's
Yeah.
whereabouts
Seems like that
during
would've
the
been
blah, blah,
important.
blah, and they wouldn't do it, but now maybe they will. Anyway,
Wow.
we'll find out more about it.
That story will absolutely be, it will continue, and we'll find out more. So a Delta Airlines flight from Orange County, California to Seattle was forced to make an emergency landing in Reno, Nevada when it hit this extreme pocket of turbulence. A couple pictures to show you. Passengers on board reported being tossed out of their seats, and a large beverage cart, which we're looking at, flipped over in the aisle. 3 people were injured and taken to the hospital. One passenger reported that the plane went into a full nosedive at least twice.
Ugh.
It's believed the turbulence was related to a strong winter storm passing through the area.
This is why you have to drink on a plane, kids.
No.
Well, they're
'Cause
trying.
this
The
could
drink cart was
happen.
out.
I know.
They had to flip with it.
Hi, can I think
said stir it, not shake it.
the last, God, I think about the last 5 times I've ordered booze on a plane, they've never charged me. Like when I was in coach and I just went, give me a vodka and tonic or whatever.
You got it, Banjo.
they do the, yeah, we'll come back. I don't
They're
know.
not too sticklers
And
about
they
it.
just, it's a weird catch as catch can thing with the charging of the
Cool.
booze. Sometimes they're on it, other times they just don't seem to care.
Right.
Which means it must not cost them anything.
It must not. I've been on Southwest several times where I'll have the drink ticket, but it's either expired or it's up in my, it's up in my bag above.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in the middle seat or whatever. I'm like, I can get like, don't worry about it. But thanks.
There's in a world full of policies around booze, especially, there is no policy about booze in the air. Has anyone ever asked? I've never asked. You're in the airport.
Okay.
You go, as I've stated in 50 Years Wall Beat Chicks, I think, and somewhere in that book. I was like in the Phoenix airport, and a dude who looked like Dawson's grandfather, owned a gold mine in 1871.
His pickaxe over his shoulder.
He just walked up to the bar, and he went, I have a Jack straight up or whatever, and the guy went, I need to see some ID, and the guy went, you got to be shitting me. Like, because the guy was like 72 and had a full gray beard, and he's like, no ID, no drink.
How do I know you're over 21?
And it's like, but it's okay. And you just go,
I can lose my job.
Right, that's what it is, by the way.
Sure.
You're going to lose your job at the airport?
Yeah.
Good for you.
The precious commodity.
Your dad will drink some champagne if you ever lose your job. Anyone other than a pilot who loses their job at an airport, that's a good day.
Do you get drunker quicker in the air?
I like to think so.
In Denver, yeah.
I've never really tested it out.
You've probably taken more flights than all of us combined.
You're
Yeah, but I don't get drunk.
Nah.
Well, we're going to have to kind of wrap this up. Lennox is Premier
nice
Boxing
talking.
Champion of the Fox there.
Let's
Check
go.
it out. We're not.
It's Oliver McCall in here.
No, but then you get in the air, they don't want to see ID.
Yeah.
I've no idea. I've never seen anyone around me. I mean, look, I'm old, but I've flown with 23-year-old chicks in a row in front of me. They didn't ask them for any ID.
Yeah.
Down at when you're on the ground, it's like we ask for ID every time, all the time. It doesn't matter who it is. You get in the air, no ID, and we'll charge you or we won't charge you.
Yeah.
Bacchanalian.
Also, here's another one they do as well. This is kind of the element of where it's sort of like if you go, you're McDonald's or whatever, and you go, or at In-N-Out Burger, and you go, oh, could I have a little extra ketchup? And they reach in with both hands to a basket of ketchup, and they throw it at you, like, never come back, never ask for ketchup again.
That ties you over
This is
for
a
a while.
lifetime ketchup. It's a condiment version of shut up and leave. But I have also asked for, like, a vodka soda and they give you 2 little vodka bottles,
Yeah.
which is, I don't want to, obviously, look, it's 11 in the morning. You obviously have
This
a
is a
problem.
lifestyle.
I don't want to have to come back in 20 minutes. Like, here, take this and go away. No charge.
Yeah.
It's
double, you're
just
right.
everything,
Yeah.
right?
Question.
Yes.
Has anybody ever been arrested in the air?
Oh, you brought up a very good question,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
They've been, well, they've had air marshals. They've had other people like restrain them, and they get get emergency landed and dragged
Tell
off
them
the
your
plane.
idea.
But they're arrested when they're on the on the ground.
You're talking about something. You're broaching a subject that Adam's passionate about. Please.
I just want a cage in the back of the airplane so we don't have to divert to Denver.
I couldn't understand. I know you
You
guys
must fly a ton of private, Lennox.
Yeah. You must have seen this one where this guy came on the plane. He wanted a drink, and the lady said, "No, you can't." And he pushed her. He was like upset that he didn't get his drink. He's like, "What's wrong with this guy? He really wanted a drink."
That was Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
He was
Do we know?
overserved. I may have been
We were there.
overserved. Oh, you have the line from In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks? Sorry.
No, I was just confirming that.
Oh, it was. It was in
yeah,
there.
that story was.
Yeah, so anyway, they don't ask for ID in the air.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
check.
They don't want you up and
Very
down
permissive.
bothering them.
They're just, it's catch as catch can
Yeah.
in the air. But anyway, that is my greatest fear, that nosedive,
Ugh.
even if it's temporary.
It's no good. So TMZ reports that Kim Kardashian West had an unforgettable Valentine's Day, courtesy of husband Kanye West and saxophonist Kenny G.
Oh, no.
Kanye arranged for the famous saxophonist to serenade his wife with a special Valentine's Day performance in their living room that all the furniture was taken out of and filled with dozens of multicolored roses. We have the video. Feast your ears on this
All right.
and watch Kanye's response.
Kenny G.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. All right, we'll get the sound worked out. Kenny, so it's a giant living room filled with roses that are coming up from the ground.
Yeah, like
No,
singular
they're in
vases.
vases.
Yeah.
There are 250 roses equally spaced, like a graveyard.
Yeah.
It's a completely empty room with just the vases of roses and Kenny G.
Now watch Kanye.
Do you have to pay Kenny G for this, or I know everyone's
personal
nodding,
favorite.
but is he doing? Is it
No.
kind of cool publicity for him? Like,
Yeah.
As we were recording this, Kenny G is the #1 trending topic.
He
online.
can't. Yeah.
Saying,
he should
like,
be
buy
paying
that kind of
Kanye.
publicity.
what's he need? 40 grand of Kanye's money, you know? It's not like he's doing an 8-minute comedy set in his backyard like the Ace Man. That you got to pay for.
Well, Kenny's been down to rehab a few times, a few divorces. He's got some bills. Oh, no.
She's a squeaky clean.
Where's Kim?
She may
She's
be
with
filming.
Ray J getting banged from behind.
How long does it have to go on for Kenny G? Like, am I good for one song?
She's in Mexico. But other than that, slight miscalculation. It was a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did Kim come down into the room?
I think
was
she
her
was
at the
filming
phone,
it.
yeah.
Oh, she's filming
Yeah,
it.
she
sorry.
tweeted the video out herself.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So,
I
Kenny,
don't know. I could have did something better than that.
What are
You
you
could've
thinking?
done
What you
better?
got?
Like
Seal.
Like definitely some sunshine, something outside and flowery. Obviously, that was inside, but it must have been raining down there like over here.
So Kenny G in the backyard. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, no, us in a jacuzzi without Kenny G, obviously, but he's up there serenading us.
what if
I
Kenny
like that.
is down below in the jacuzzi, taking care of her and breathing through,
The circular breathing techniques.
just breathing through his saxophone like a reed, like in the movies when you'd go in, undercover,
I don't think that's what they're for.
Yeah, but a regular saxophone is no good for breathing in a jacuzzi because of the shape.
Right.
It'll come right back down on you.
I get it.
His is perfect because he does the breathing straw
Sure.
saxophone.
You may be onto something.
And
I
he
think I
could
was
be down
wrong.
there taking care
Yeah.
of Kim's
Uh-huh.
while you're up top,
What's that sound, Kim? Nothing.
Or after this, all of a sudden, she gets calls from Kenny G all the time.
Right. No,
He's got the keys to the house. Yeah.
like he felt the connection. Yeah, you're right.
It's a very good point.
Mm-hmm. God, the thing I'll never understand about Kenny G is a saxophone is the coolest instrument to be seen playing. Like a guitar, rock guitar is good. Drum kit's pretty
Yeah,
good.
but you're holding that sax close.
But
dude.
that sax, like when you're really rocking like Rob Lowe and St. Elmo's Fire, you're looking good with it.
Good example.
He played this stupid little piper. He plays the most
alto sax.
effeminate.
Little
Like
penny whistle.
it's nothing.
It's not Clarence Clemens.
You don't look at Clarence, the big man. He looks
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
playing that thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how bad Clarence would look? Hey, big man, and he's got that stupid
Snake
little
charmer one?
Yes.
Yeah. No
Play
good.
the good one. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, U.S. Marines have been pictured drinking cobra blood as they took part in military exercises in Thailand, according to the New York Post. So the soldiers were given the cobra blood, and I think we have a picture, as part of their jungle training in the largest American-led military exercise in Asia called Cobra Gold. The troops were taught how to survive in extreme jungle conditions. The annual event got underway on Tuesday with 7 countries participating: Singapore, Japan, China, India, South Korea, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the U.S.
This feels like a trap.
Royal Thai Marine instructors showed the troops how to drink the blood from a cobra and how it can save their life, help them to stay alive when there's no drinking water available, and it provides essential nutrition.
It's probably high in glucose.
Are they hazing us?
It's like high in sugar, probably.
Probably
I'm sure it's the best. Although I don't think. I don't. Well, there's like those cultures are like you got to drink the tiger's blood and have the horn of the rhino, and all that stuff. And it's like I think you could basically eat a feral cat's blood and still get the same thing you got out of a cobra.
You guys are forgetting. First you have to catch the cobra.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
That seems like a tougher thing to do when you're out trapped in the jungles.
Yeah.
Go find a cobra.
Oh, cobras usually find you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
something's trying to bite me. Let me just kill it. Oh, let me drink the blood.
Yeah,
you're right. I think that is part of the process, because then you can survive anything if you catch a cobra with your bare hands.
It also makes for a kind of good movie of the week, like where the guy comes home after the training, and at some point, like he's just standing out in the patio drinking a beer, and there's a little muskrat that goes along the fence, and his hand just smacks it, grabs it, and puts it in his mouth, and of course the wife gets a little nervous. Like, "Hon, what was that?"
I don't know.
And you just see him start to slowly think like a cobra.
Just think about the jungle people. They're probably laughing at these people like, yo, these guys have to catch a snake. I'm just digging up this root and eating this root. It tastes better.
We got rutabaga right here.
Yeah,
Motor City Cobra was what boxer, Lennox Lewis?
Cobra was, what's his name? The Cobra, the body snatcher. I forgot his name.
Tommy the Hitman Hearns.
Oh, yes.
Tommy the Hitman
I'm thinking of
Hearns
somebody else.
was the Motor City Cobra.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I believe. Yeah, I think he had 2 nicknames. Anyway.
That name is pretty badass. Motor City Cobra.
Yeah, what's better?
Doesn't
The
totally
Hitman?
make sense, but
Well, you Hitman, you have the
It's got the
alliteration with
alliteration,
Hearns. Motor City Cobra, not so much. Who'd you like? You were a Muhammad Ali guy?
I love the middleweights. It was Marvis Hagler for me. The guy
Yeah.
that switches up, the guy that trained in the cave. He didn't like press. He didn't like anybody. He just, just don't call him late for dinner.
In the change my name legally department, who's better? Marvelous Marvin Hagler,
That's
who
pretty
changed his
strong.
name to Marvelous.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
Or World Be Free.
Marvelous Marvin.
Better than World
Yeah,
Be Free.
World Be Free's good. Marvelous Marvin better. You're marvelous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
What
just
about
put
Puff
Marvelous
Daddy?
in front of. Yeah, but I don't think is that on his driver's license.
All right, Mr. Daddy, no ticket today.
Still probably says Sean
What
Combs.
about Prince? A sign. Change your name to a sign. That's what I was thinking about, changing my name to a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big
Fist.
Yield.
Who's that?
Yield.
That's Lennox
Big
Lewis.
fist. Yeah, yield to the fist. I like it.
Ooh, there's probably a good chance, because this is something that was on your bucket list, or it still is. Mr. Lewis, is there any chance that your hands have had to be registered in any state in the United States?
Yes.
Wow.
I have? That's on my list.
Yes.
Where have they?
That's awesome.
There's some state down south. Every boxer, any boxer that boxes in that state has to register their hands.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, because that's the first time I've actually. I'm trying to stay off the police list, all those type of things. And when they're taking, I've never been arrested. Oh, why do you have to do this? Oh, you're boxing in this state. We're gonna have to take your license and information about you and your fingerprints
Do
and all that.
you remember what state it's in?
No, I can't remember, but I did think that was odd.
Don't you think that's badass?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
'Cause
he's
you
on
seem
board.
irritated by it. Awesome.
At first I was, because I didn't have no police record. Now they're giving me one.
Marvis, boxing while black. Marvelous. Well, there was a Marvis Frazier
Oh.
as well.
Yeah.
You remember, you probably
Yep.
beat Marvis Frazier?
No, I never boxed him.
He
Tyson
boxed
him.
before you.
Yeah,
a little
boxed
before.
Tyson,
Yeah, so there was a Marvis Frazier.
Wow.
And in a heavyweight,
And a
not
Mavis.
not a big
Joe
guy.
Frazier's son.
Joe Frazier's son was Marvis Frazier, who sort of famously got in with Larry Holmes like way sooner than he should have. And Larry Holmes was, it's one thing to have a guy beat you up. It's another thing to have a guy like pump a jab in your face with his left hand and with his right hand signal to the ref like, hey, come over. You're going to stop this.
something.
Am I
Help him
going to
out.
end this? Or am I going to have to like keep doing this to this guy who probably
It's a level of losing.
shouldn't be here, but his dad was Joe Frazier, and everyone kind of wanted him to be. The problem with a lot of the sons is the sons have the physical ability because their dad is a renowned, world champion, but they grow up rich, so they're missing that component of hungry.
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you about Geico. Everyone's got the to-do list. How about you save hundreds of dollars to your car insurance? You don't have to go anywhere. Just go to geico.com. That is geico.com. That's right. Spend a few minutes. Could save extra money. Put it in your pocket. Be the most rewarding thing you do all day at Geico. That is geico.com. All right, Gina, let's do one more.
All right, well, we've been talking a little bit about Bill Cosby, and now there is more Cosby news. In his first message from prison, Bill Cosby calls himself a political prisoner like Gandhi. Jesus. The disgraced comedian who is serving 3 to 10 years behind bars for sexual assault writes, quote, "My political beliefs, my actions of trying to humanize all races, genders, and religions landed me in this place surrounded by barbed wire fencing.
Now,
a
hold
room
on.
made of
Lennox,
steel and iron."
I know you're a big Alan Thicke and Benny Hill guy. Let's see, I covered Canada
You did
and
really
then
good.
I covered
Yep.
the UK.
That's right.
Is any thoughts on Cosby? Was he big? Do you know him growing up? I mean, you know the name, but was he big when you were in the UK and in Canada?
Not as a comedian, as a host. I seen him in a couple movies and stuff, and I liked him in those movies.
Ghost Dad, Leonard Part 6.
Mm-hmm. All the good ones, all the big ones, all the nominated stuff. But he's a political prisoner.
Yeah, he then compares his temporary residence to the quarters of, quote, some of the greatest political prisoners, Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Randall Robinson, and Dr. Benjamin Chavis. I stand upright as a political prisoner, and I smile. Cosby also insists... Yeah.
So the claim is that his deeds, his political work or whatever, his work in the community, this is retribution?
Well, this is some sort of vengeance for what he stood for.
All he did was get doctorates and
I know.
Be America's father.
Yeah.
All I gotta say,
I'd say diversity respected.
Like when we were just talking about Jussie and what about the phone and turn the phone in and a little gray area here. If you ever see the interview of I think she was a female basketball player, and he went to her home, or she went to his home, and the story she tells, I always tell you about the super specific stuff. Mm-hmm. That is a super specific event by a woman who's super sober, who's basically saying this is exactly went down.
Yep.
And when you hear her sort of account of the incident, it doesn't sound like there's there's no wiggle room in that story.
Andrea
It's super specific. There's no gray areas. There's no we got a yearbook from his high school. Like there's none of that. There's just her telling exactly what happened, very specifically, and it's very believable.
Well, Cosby also insists that he's a victim of entrapment perpetrated by, quote, a low-life district attorney and a corrupt judge.
Bad luck. Got him
All
both.
right, so we have to ask about his wife. I'm always interested. Camille.
I was like Carmela.
Camille.
Yeah.
Is Camille happy? Like Camille has cleared this guy. This guy's
complicated question.
He's a philanderer.
Yeah.
He's probably a bit of a blowhard.
Yeah.
Probably smokes a cigar in the kitchen. She can't stand that.
Get rid of him.
He's out. She's been standing by her man, but she's got to deal with all of it.
Yeah.
He's cleared out. She's in a big house in Bel Air.
And
she can relax.
She hasn't visited him because the article said that his attorney's the only one who's been to visit him.
she's happy. Like, she can't have a press conference saying, thank God, but
Right.
she's
I think,
relieved,
yeah,
right?
I think there's relief is the word I would use. Yeah, I think there's a lifting off the shoulders.
Yeah. All right,
burden.
let's do one more.
All right. Well, this is good news for so many of us. More details are coming out about the Breaking Bad sequel. A feature-length movie based on the hit TV show is in the works, and according to The Hollywood Reporter, it will revolve around Aaron Paul's Jesse Pinkman character. Sources say that Netflix will have first-run rights to the top-secret project, which will then air on AMC, which is where the TV show aired. Series creator Vince Gilligan will write and direct the movie, which will, quote, follow the escape of a kidnapped man, that's Jesse Pinkman, and his quest for freedom. And of course, Bryan Cranston said if the script calls for it, he's in.
God, Cranston, he's basically the white Kevin Hart. Like, he just never,
everywhere.
never stops. He just never stops making movies,
Yeah.
right?
Can't keep him
Was he
down.
just in a movie with Kevin Hart?
Yeah,
Well done.
The Upside?
all they do is make movies. Like,
Yeah.
they must make 6 movies a year. And I think, and I don't know, but I know him a bit. You know, he didn't have a lot of success from 0 to 40.
Right.
You know, and I think there's a sort of making hay while the sun shines.
He was Malcolm's dad, and that was it.
I know. The thing about
That's
him
how
is
we knew
he could be anything. I mean, he
Yeah.
does comedy, drama, anything, and he
Yeah,
excels at everything.
Certainly it helps to be talented. All right, let me tell you about Castrol Edge. Stronger under pressure. Castrol Edge with fluid titanium technology transforms under pressure 3 times.
3 times, fool.
Stronger than leading full synthetic against viscosity breakdown. And they did a little test with 5W30 viscosity grade, and it's 3 times. 3 times.
3 times, fool.
Castrol Edge always exceeds the toughest industry standards. New and improved formula. It is the best. It is Castrol Edge. Did we bring it home, Gina Grad?
We'll do it right now. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina That was the news with Gina Grad.
Michael Mann uses buck slips, people.
Did you need that kind of affirmation, confirmation?
Sign of a genius, but he types on his buck slip.
Whatever it takes,
You'll never
man.
get there.
How do you
That's cool.
type on a buck slip?
It's not happening.
Either you have a printer like set
Laser
to print
printer.
out those odd shapes, or as a typewriter. Probably a printer.
Yeah, that looks like a printer.
Because you can do like you print. That's that's about the size of an envelope. You can print an envelope, obviously.
Yeah, man.
A lot of trial and error.
Excited. Yeah, I'll read that Ferrari script.
That's
Very
awesome.
excited about that. Wonder if he wants input.
Well,
Dare
sure.
I give input?
I think that's what
I think that's why he gives it to you. He's
Really?
willing to read to impress you.
I don't know.
Just
I don't
saying.
ever step my
I don't
boundaries.
think Michael
Mann
Mann needs to show off at this point in his career. I think he's looking for someone to collaborate with.
MM Cool Type doesn't want to show off.
Cool font.
MM Cool Font. LL Cool Jab. Come on.
Think about it.
It's too let me tell you, your name has to be a strong name. That's why my name is, and people don't really say my name correctly, but my name is Lennox.
Lennox.
Yeah, Lennox Lewis. Yeah,
Lennox you out.
Yeah, ooh, I like that.
You're
yeah.
welcome. You can have that.
I will. I'll take it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, people always call me Lennox, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you're taking the ox off my name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and names are very important. My son's name is Landon.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 girls as well. Ling, Leia, and Levia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Would you care if they boxed?
No. My daughters, I would care. My son can box because, I would love him to try it. He's been to different camps with me, so he loves it. And, he's a good-looking boy, so obviously I have to teach him defense and make sure he doesn't mess up his face.
How old is he?
He's 15.
So now's about the time you would start with that.
Yep.
Obviously, he's got the ability. Is he tall like you?
Tall, he's 6 foot.
So he could do it, but again, going back to, I think it was Julio Cesar Chavez has a son who boxes with Marvis Frazier. It's like they grow up with the ability, but man, they grow up with so much wealth and opulence and everything that you
There's that
never can
drive.
discount that crazy fire in your belly because they just don't have to box.
You got to move him into the garage.
You start training them like Rocky in Siberia.
You're
You sleep
right.
in the Bentley tonight.
You're right when you say that. When I'm always thinking, you know, when kids grow up with a spoon in their mouth or whatever, it's like they don't have that desire, don't have that burning will to be successful because they've got everything given to them. So yeah, there's always been a question in my mind: does that really happen? And if my son boxes, would that happen to him? And I'm trying to think, well, maybe the fact that maybe I should still treat him a little rough around the edges, you know, still kind of go after him and have him keep that instinct that he has. And I actually seen it come out one time. He was 9 and he was in the pool, and one of my daughters hit him with a bucket. And he was trying to get out, and this is the first time I ever seen him really go mad. So I was like, okay, he does have that killer instinct. He wanted to kill his sister.
Yeah, it's in him.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, like you see these guys and they have all the ability in the world, but at a certain point, when you start getting into the championship rounds and your lungs are burning and you can't feel like you can lift your arms and stuff, what propels you then? Because that's when it really just kicks in. And I'm guessing you grew up with I don't know if you grew up in poverty. I don't know how much money you had.
I just grew up with my mother alone, caring for me, looking after me. And yeah, I didn't grow up with no silver spoon in my mouth or anything like that.
Your biological dad, did you meet him? Did he come into your life?
Yep.
Did he show up after you started winning?
After, you know, that same story.
That's right.
It's sad. It's sad.
Well, you know what's sadder? I got famous on the Man Show. My dad still didn't show up. Still sitting in Altadena.
When he sees you, hey, Man Show.
Hey, Man Show.
Let me tell you, you drive my favorite car. I had one as well, Aston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love it.
Now, so did your dad find you when you became Lennox Lewis?
Yes, when I was Lennox.
And how does that ever really work? Because it never seems to work.
It didn't. I mean, obviously he did want. He wanted to be in my life. He blamed my mother for him not being in my life, and he obviously wanted a relationship. But it's like, why have a relationship? I'm like, heavyweight champion of the world. I've done without you for all this time. I didn't really push the issue. He didn't really push the issue. But he's a very nice man. Now I know where I get my niceness from. Obviously him.
What you think about it? I'm curious. Like everybody, I'll open this up to everyone. You abandon your son.
I'm with you so far.
Right. He becomes heavyweight champ. There's two awakenings. One is you might want to you become a certain age. You're not 27 anymore. You're 47 or whatever it is, and you become different as a guy. You calm down. You don't think about other women and carousing and blah, responsibility and blah, blah, blah. You want to contact your son. He's heavyweight champ of the world. That's another part of you that goes, hey, that guy's, he's findable. Is there an approach that works? Like, you can't bum rush him and go, I'm your dad, I need to borrow money. There's too much in the past. There's resentment and hurt and hate and everything else. Is there one posture that'll work? Is there anything?
I would think that it would be contacting, saying, first of all, I want you to know I don't want anything from you. I want to congratulate you for your success, and here's how you can find me if you're interested. You have to take, I would imagine, a super passive approach.
But why do you have to wait till he's a heavyweight champion?
Oh, you don't.
Under the scenario
in these circumstances, I wouldn't imagine going, hey, we should really grab a drink.
Lennox, just to be clear, he could be cruiserweight, he could be light heavyweight champ of the world. You could reach out at any division. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm saying, why reach out after he's famous? You should reach out before. I think it's bad when you do it when he's famous. Oh, he's famous. My son's famous. Let me go reach out to him. Okay, suppose he wasn't famous. Would you still reach out to him? So that's the point I'm really trying to, you never know.
Right. And I guess that's what I'm saying. Is there ever a good posture? And I think Gina's about the only one you can take is I don't want anything. Here's my number. I understand I did you wrong. If you want to start down that road, we can.
Does he know your children?
No.
Okay.
So they don't. The thing I've also noticed about those guys, because I got it a little bit, which is there's a reason you have a wiring that will let you walk away from your infant or your young son or daughter, whatever. You have that wiring. Right. And then later on you have regrets and time and you mature and whatever, but you still have a basic wiring that goes, I can have a child and then go and never see them.
Yeah.
So you go, well, then have they changed? And then what about the grandkids? Like, they don't come around that much. And it's like, yes, because they did it the first time.
Right.
Versus you meet people, men, but especially women, like there is no way. There's no way.
There's no walking away.
There's no walking away. All right. Let's end on a very sad note. But also, I don't know, Lennox, philosophically, you probably feel like I don't know this guy. Like it's not a big hole in my life. He never was there. He never filled it up.
Well, it was interesting because he basically said he wanted to see me. I went to see him, and we spoke. Like I said, very nice man. And he felt he had to give me something, and he gave me £50. I'm like, you didn't really don't have to give me. He said, no, I want to give you this. And, at first I looked at it and said, guy that hasn't seen me for so long wants to give me £50. Look, can you believe that? But then I'm thinking, maybe that's all he had. Yeah.
By the way, that's 68 U.S. Don't sneeze at that. That's $1994.
That's a one-way flight to Phoenix, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hey, so I didn't really judge him. I looked at it in a deeper sense. Like, he wanted to give me something. He does feel sorry for not being around. And, he's happy that he has a son, and he just wanted to get to know me. And that was it. That was basically it.
Did you see any physicality? Did you see that he was tall? Did you see he had some of the same features?
No, the only feature he had was my soft eyes.
So dreamy.
All right, let me tell you about Simply Safe. Nobody should feel unsafe at home, and that's why you got to protect your home with Simply Safe. 2 eyes in there. Simply Safe. They want to protect your house. They're a great company and a great sponsor. Protect your home today. Free shipping at simplysafe.com/Adam. All right, so Michael Mann will be on next week. Cool Font, is that his?
Yeah.
We're working it out.
LL Cool Jab, Lennox Lewis, Premier Boxing Champions on Fox. That is tomorrow night. Lennox will be doing the color commentary. Big featherweight title fight, Santa Cruz versus Rivera. You can shoot Lennox a tweet at Lennox with an OX, Lennox Lewis, and watch that fight on Fox coming up. Going to be a great lightweight all-action fight. So, let's see, what do I got? Not Taco Bell material. That's my stand-up special. You can see it at a town near you, February 27th. See that at go to tugg.com or adamcarolla.com/events, and my movie Road Hard. You can see that at Tubi with TUBITV.com. The live shows coming up. Just go to adamcarolla.com. We're going to be at the Bray Improv and all that good stuff. Until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Lennox, Lewis, and Gina Granville Ryan saying mahalo. Bukkake.
Follow the Adam Carolla Show on Twitter at Adam Carolla Show. Follow Ace on Twitter at Adam Carolla. You can leave us a voicemail at 888-634-1744. For tickets and info on all the live podcasts, Mandray events, books, movies, and more, go to adamcarolla.com. And stay tuned.